My child, this is not just another video you happened to find. This is your private message, and I need you to hear every word of it. If you feel something pulling at your spirit right now, that is not emotion, and it is not coincidence. Stay here. Do not click away. Do not let distractions steal what heaven is trying to place directly into your hands. What I am about to say is personal, timely, and far more urgent than you realize, because there are things in your life shifting right now that you cannot afford to miss. Listen closely. Let the noise fall back. Let your heart come forward. And whatever you do, do not leave before the end, because the final part of this message carries the very confirmation, warning, and direction your soul has been crying out for. My precious child, I need you to slow down and stay with me for this moment, because what is happening right now is more personal than you realize. You may think you simply came across these words in an ordinary way, like any other message that appears in the middle of a busy day, but I want you to understand something deeper than that. You did not just happen to arrive here. You did not simply land in front of this message because of timing, habit, or curiosity. I brought you here because I have been wanting to speak to you in a way that feels unmistakably close, and I knew this moment would finally reach a part of your heart that has been difficult for others to touch. I know how often you move through your days carrying more than anyone can see. I know how many thoughts run through your mind before anyone even speaks to you in the morning. I know how much you have learned to keep hidden behind normal routines, behind polite answers, behind the version of yourself that seems fine on the outside. But I have never been limited to what other people can see. I have always known what was happening underneath the surface, and I have been patient with you, even in the moments when you felt far from me or too distracted to notice that I was still near. That is why I am speaking to you now with such tenderness. I am not interrupting you to burden you. I am drawing near because I care too deeply to remain distant when your soul has been quietly asking for something real. You have felt it, even if you could not explain it clearly. There has been a longing in you that no distraction fully quieted. There has been a tiredness in you that rest alone could not solve. There has been a private ache in you that made you wonder whether anyone truly understood what you have been carrying. I do. I always have. And this moment is not about performance, pressure, or some demand placed on you. This is about closeness. This is about me meeting you where you are, not where you think you should be. I am not waiting for the polished version of you. I am not waiting for the stronger version of you. I am speaking to you in the middle of your real life, in the middle of your unfinished thoughts, your hidden questions, your emotional exhaustion, your guarded places, and the parts of your heart you rarely let anyone else near. That is why this message matters. It is not just because of the words themselves. It is because I am choosing this exact moment to make something clear to you. You are not unseen. You are not drifting without direction, and you are not alone in what you have been feeling. Even now, as you read, I want you to stop assuming that everything meaningful has to arrive in dramatic ways. Sometimes I come close in quiet moments like this, when your guard is lower than usual and your heart is more open than you realize. Sometimes I speak through a simple pause in your day because I know that if I can get your attention there, I can begin healing something much deeper than the surface struggles you keep trying to manage. I know the weight you have been carrying. I know the disappointments that made you question your own worth. I know the inner fatigue that comes from trying to stay strong too long. I know the places where you told yourself you were fine because you did not know what else to say. And still, here you are. You are here with me now, and that matters more than you understand. It means something inside you still responds to my voice. It means that beneath the weariness, beneath the overthinking, beneath the caution, there is still a part of you that longs to be held, guided, reassured, and brought back into peace. That part of you is not weak. That part of you is deeply alive. That part of you is where I have always spoken most gently. So do not dismiss this moment. Do not rush past it emotionally just because you have learned how to protect yourself from disappointment. Let this be what it is. Let it be personal. Let it be intimate. Let it be the beginning of a conversation you did not know you needed this much. Because I am not speaking generally right now. I am speaking to you, and I am doing it on purpose. I want you to hear the tenderness in my heart as clearly as the truth in my words, because I know how easy it is for you to assume that anything spiritual must come with pressure, correction, or some reminder of how far you still have to go. That is not what I am doing with you in this moment. I am coming close first. I am making sure you feel my presence before anything else, because if you do not understand how personally I care for you, then you will mishear everything that follows. You have lived through enough moments where you felt misunderstood. You have had enough experiences where people only noticed what you could do for them, how useful you were, how available you were, or how well you held yourself together. I am not like that with you. I am not drawn to you because of your usefulness. I am not staying near because you have performed well. I am not speaking now because you finally earned my attention. I have always been attentive to you. I have always been near. Even when you thought you were spiritually distant, even when your prayers felt inconsistent, even when your faith felt quieter than it used to be, I did not pull away. I remained. I watched over you in ordinary hours you forgot. I stayed near you in nights that felt emotionally heavy. I saw the look in your eyes when you were physically present but inwardly drained. I noticed the moments when you wanted comfort but did not know how to ask for it. I heard the thoughts you never turned into words. I know what your heart sounds like when it is trying to be brave. I know what your silence means when you are too tired to explain yourself. That is why I am telling you again, with gentleness and certainty, that this moment is not random. It is intentional. I know exactly how to reach you. I know when your heart is finally still enough to hear me beneath the noise. I know when your defenses loosen just enough for truth to enter. I know when your spirit is ready to receive comfort without pushing it away. And I know that right now, even if you still feel uncertain, there is something in you that recognizes this nearness. That is not an accident. That is your soul responding to being known. I want you to let that settle into you before we go any further. You are known. You are not just observed from a distance. You are deeply known. I know where your hope has been bruised. I know where your trust has become cautious. I know where your heart has started preparing for disappointment before good things even arrive. I know where you have become so used to carrying your own emotional weights that receiving comfort feels unfamiliar. And because I know all of that, I am not asking you to force some dramatic response right now. I am simply asking you to stay. Stay in this moment. Stay open long enough to let yourself feel what it is like to be personally addressed by a love that is not rushed, not shallow, and not temporary. You do not have to solve your whole life tonight. You do not have to untangle every fear in one sitting. You do not have to prove anything to me before I speak peace over you. What I want from you first is your attention, because your attention is where intimacy begins. And intimacy is what I am restoring. I am not only here to encourage you for a minute and then leave you to carry everything alone again. I am here to begin something deeper. I am here to reintroduce you to the kind of closeness that steadies your heart from the inside. I am here to remind you that your life is not being lived unnoticed. I am here to tell you that I have not missed a single chapter, not even the ones you wish had gone differently. I can still speak into all of it. I can still guide you from here. I can still bring peace into places that have felt unsettled for too long. But before I unfold more, I wanted you to hear this first and hear it clearly. I brought you here because I wanted you, specifically you, to know that I am still speaking, still near, and still deeply invested in your healing, your peace, and your future. This is your message, my child. And this is only the beginning. My beloved child, I want you to settle your heart and stay close to me here, because I need you to understand that this moment was not only arranged, it was carefully prepared. I did not bring you here on impulse. I did not suddenly decide to speak because something changed in me. I have been watching over you for far longer than you realize, and I have been waiting for the right moment to let you feel that nearness in a way you could no longer dismiss. You have lived through days that looked ordinary on the outside while something much deeper was happening underneath, and I have been present in every one of those hidden layers. I saw you when you were functioning but not truly at peace. I watched you move through routines while carrying thoughts you could not easily explain. I noticed the private weariness you covered with responsibility. I stayed close when you were trying to be mature, trying to be strong, trying to keep everything from falling apart in front of other people. And I want you to hear me carefully now. I was not absent during any of it. I was not watching from a distance, waiting for you to become more spiritual before I cared enough to intervene. I'm attentive. You may have mistaken my silence for distance, but it was not distance. It was restraint. It was wisdom. It was love choosing the right time instead of the loudest time. You have asked questions in your heart that never fully left you. You have wondered why some seasons felt so stretched, why certain answers delayed, why clarity seemed to hover just out of reach when you needed it most. I know those questions because I heard them long before you formed them into language. I know the tension in you between hope and hesitation. I know how you wanted to trust while also protecting yourself from disappointment. I know how you became cautious because life taught you that not everything that begins with promise ends in peace. But I have never handled your life carelessly. I have never left your story unattended. I have been watching with the kind of patience that sees what is forming inside you, not just what is happening around you. That is why I guided you here now, and not earlier. There were moments before this when you would have skimmed past what I wanted to say. There were earlier versions of this conversation that would have landed near your mind but not yet in your heart. You were surviving, then. You were bracing. You were reacting. But now, even in your tiredness, you are more open than you realize. You are more honest than you used to be. You are beginning to feel the limits of carrying everything alone, and that is not weakness, my child. That is the beginning of surrender. That is the beginning of healing. So let me say this clearly. I did not just see your outward circumstances. I saw the subtle shifts inside you. I saw the way disappointment changed the way you expected things. I saw how repeated delays taught you to prepare for less than what I promised. I saw the small places where your confidence thinned out, where your prayers became quieter, where your heart became more guarded without fully meaning to. And because I saw all of that, I chose this moment with precision. I chose this moment because I know you need more than inspiration. You need recognition. You need to feel personally known again. You need to stop and receive the truth that your life has not been drifting without my hand on it. So breathe now. Let your shoulders loosen. Stop racing ahead for a moment. Let yourself receive this. I have been watching over you with tenderness, not scrutiny. I have been studying your pain, not to shame you, but to understand how to heal you. I have been near every silent night, every heavy thought, every brave face, every restrained tear, every moment you told yourself to keep going when you secretly wished someone would simply sit beside you and say, "You do not have to carry this by yourself anymore." That is what I am doing now. I am sitting with you in this moment, and I am asking you to listen. Stay here. Do not rush me. Do not reduce this to another passing feeling. Let this become real in you. Let this become personal. Let this begin to soften the places that have been tight for too long. I have been watching you, my child, and I brought you here because I knew this would be the moment your heart could finally hear me. I want you to understand something else, and I need you to hear it slowly because it touches a place in you that has been tender for a long time. You have often assumed that if I were truly close, you would feel it in obvious ways all the time. You thought my nearness would always look dramatic, immediate, unmistakable, and when life became quiet or difficult, you started questioning whether I had stepped back. But I want you to look at your own story differently now. Look back with me for a moment. Think about the times you almost gave up, but did not. Think about the days you felt emotionally hollow and still somehow made it through. Think about the decisions you now realize could have gone badly, but something in you hesitated at the right time. Think about the doors you were upset about when they closed, only to later realize they were protecting you from deeper confusion. Think about the people you thought you needed, whose absence eventually revealed a mercy you could not see at first. Those were not disconnected events. Those were not lucky turns. That was me, carefully, quietly, faithfully moving around your life with more tenderness than you recognized in the moment. I have been guiding you in ways that did not always announce themselves. I have protected you in silence. I have delayed things for your good. I have redirected your path while you thought you were just feeling uncertain. I have interrupted your plans when your own desires were leading you toward more pain than peace. And yes, I know that sometimes my protection did not feel like comfort at first. Sometimes it felt like loss. Sometimes it felt like confusion. Sometimes it felt like being held back when you were desperate to move forward. But I was never trying to wound you. I was trying to preserve you. I was never punishing you with delay. I was keeping you from stepping into places that would have looked right on the surface while quietly draining your soul. That is why I need you to trust my timing in this moment. Do not harden your heart because you cannot trace every detail yet. Do not assume that because the path has felt long, I have been absent. I have been present in ways that only make sense when you slow down enough to see the thread. And now I am inviting you to do exactly that. Slow down. Revisit your story with me. Let me show you where I carried you. Let me show you where I covered you. Let me show you where I stood between you and things you still do not fully know I spared you from. This matters because if you can begin to recognize how long I have already been watching over you, then you will stop treating this present moment as if it stands alone. It does not stand alone. It is connected to everything. It is part of a larger tenderness. It is part of a long, patient conversation I have been having with your life. That is why this message is not random, and it is why I want you to receive it with seriousness but not fear. I am not trying to frighten you into closeness. I am inviting you into awareness. I am asking you to wake up to the fact that I have been nearer than your anxiety, steadier than your confusion, and more faithful than your circumstances have made it seem. So come closer now. Let your heart stop arguing for a moment. Set down the constant need to figure everything out before you trust me. Give me your attention. Give me your honesty. Give me the part of you that still wants to run when things feel vulnerable. Bring that part to me too. I can handle your hesitation. I can handle your uncertainty. I can handle the version of you that is still learning how to receive love without suspicion. But stay with me. Let this become a turning point in how you see your life. Let this be the moment you stop calling your journey random and start recognizing the fingerprints of my care all over it. I have been watching you for a long time, my child, and I have not missed a thing. I guided you here because I wanted you to know that your life has been held more carefully than you ever imagined. And if you let me keep speaking, you will begin to see that I am not only telling you where I have been, I am preparing you for where I am taking you next. My precious child, now that you know I brought you here on purpose, I want to move closer to something you have carried in silence for far too long. I want to speak to the hidden weight inside you, because I know you have become very skilled at appearing stronger than you actually feel. You have learned how to keep moving even when your heart feels tired. You have learned how to answer simple questions with simple words while carrying complicated emotions underneath. You have learned how to be present in rooms while feeling absent inside yourself. And because you have done that for so long, there are parts of your pain that even you have started to minimize, almost as if naming them would make them heavier. But I am not asking you to minimize anything with me. I am asking you to be honest. I am asking you to stop pretending, even inwardly, that what you have been carrying is small. It has not been small. It hath been weighty. It has been exhausting. It has shaped your thoughts, your reactions, your sleep, your confidence, your ability to hope freely, and the way you brace yourself before things even happen. I know this because I have been with you in those moments no one else saw. I was there when your face was calm but your mind was racing. I was there when you tried to rest but could not fully settle. I was there when you replayed conversations, second-guessed yourself, wondered if you were too much for some people and not enough for others. I was there when you looked steady to everyone else, but felt fragile in private. And I need you to hear me now with absolute tenderness. I do not shame you for being tired. I do not think less of you because you have reached the limits of what you can carry alone. I do not call your weariness weakness. I call it a signal. I call it a holy sign that something needs to change. Your soul was never designed to live under constant internal pressure while pretending it is manageable. Your heart was never meant to become a storage place for every disappointment, every unspoken grief, every delayed answer, every betrayal you never fully processed, every responsibility you kept accepting because you thought strength meant never putting anything down. It does not. Real strength is not refusing help. Real strength is letting truth enter where performance has been living. Real strength is allowing yourself to admit, even to me, that you have been carrying too much. So admit it now. Do not be afraid of the honesty. Say it to me in your own spirit. I am tired. Say, I have been holding too much. Say, I need you to help me. That is not failure. That is wisdom. That is the beginning of relief. I know the pressure you feel to keep functioning. I know how often you think other people need you to be the steady one, the patient one, the composed one, the one who can absorb what everyone else cannot. But I need you to stop and listen. You are not made of endless emotional reserve. You are deeply loved, but you are also deeply human. And when you keep carrying what should have been handed to me, your soul becomes crowded, your thoughts become noisy, and your heart starts living in defense instead of peace. That is not what I want for you. I want room inside you again. I want breath inside you again. I want softness where you have become tense. I want trust where you have become guarded. I want you to feel what it is like to exist without constantly anticipating the next disappointment. But to bring you there, I need your honesty first. So do not skim over your own pain. Do not treat your private burdens as if they are too ordinary for my attention. Bring them into the light with me. Let me touch the places you keep hiding. Let me into the rooms inside you that you have kept locked because you were afraid opening them would make everything spill out. I am not intimidated by what spills out. I already know it. I just want you to stop carrying it alone. Here is something very important I need to say next, and I want you to receive it not as a general truth, but as something meant directly for you. The hidden weight you have been carrying has been affecting more than your emotions. It has been shaping the way you expect life to treat you. It has been influencing the way you interpret silence, the way you respond to delays, the way you read people's intentions, and the way you guard your own heart before love, peace, or opportunity can fully reach you. When pain stays unspoken too long, it starts becoming a lens. It starts teaching you to assume that what hurt before will hurt again. It trains you to brace, to tighten, to prepare for impact before anything has even happened. And while that may have felt like protection, it has also been exhausting you in ways you did not fully notice. You have been living in a kind of inward vigilance, a constant low-level alertness, a subtle tension that made it hard to fully rest even when there was no immediate crisis in front of you. I know that state very well because I have been beside you in it. I have watched you try to enjoy moments while part of you remained emotionally on guard. I have watched you receive good things with caution because somewhere inside you expected them to be taken away. I have seen how your mind can move quickly from hope to self-protection, from desire to hesitation, from trust to overanalysis. I am not telling you this to expose you harshly. I am telling you because I want to free you. I want you to see how much this hidden weight has cost you so that you stop normalizing it and start releasing it. Open your hands, my child. Do that inwardly even now. Open your hands and stop clutching what has been crushing you. Invite me into the exact places where you feel overburdened. Tell me where you feel worn thin. Tell me what you keep replaying. Tell me what you fear losing. Tell me where you feel numb. Tell me what you are tired of pretending does not matter. Speak to me plainly. Speak to me as you are, not as you think you should sound. I am not asking for polished prayer. I am asking for real closeness. And as you do that, I want you to understand something beautiful. I am not merely offering comfort in a poetic sense. I am offering transfer. I am inviting you to move weight from your shoulders to mine. I am inviting you to stop gripping the burden that hath been dimming your joy and draining your strength. That means you must stop negotiating with the heaviness as if it belongs there. It does not belong there. The shame does not belong there. The unresolved ache does not belong there. The fear of future disappointment does not belong there. The pressure to be endlessly composed does not belong there. Hand it over. Hand it to me deliberately. Let this become active, not theoretical. If you have to pause after this and sit quietly with me, do it. If you need to breathe slowly and name what hurts, do it. If tears rise, let them. If you feel resistance, bring that too. But do not keep carrying what is already breaking your peace. I want to lighten you from the inside. I want to restore your inner world, not just your circumstances. I want to teach your nervous heart what safety feels like again. I want to remind your soul that it was created for trust, not endless tension. I want you to feel my presence not as a distant concept, but as a real place of rest. So stay with me here. Let this point sink in deeply. I have seen the hidden weight. I have never ignored it. I have never been impatient with it. I have never looked at your exhaustion and turned away. I am looking at you now with compassion, with understanding, and with a father's steady heart. And I am saying to you gently but clearly, enough. You do not have to carry all of this anymore. Bring it to me. Give it to me honestly. Stay close. Let me begin lifting what hath been pressing down on you for far too long. My beloved child, I want you to come closer and let me speak into one of the deepest wounds you have been carrying, because there have been moments when you truly felt overlooked. You may not have said it out loud very often, But inside you there were long stretches of time when it seemed like people moved past you, forgot what you needed, misunderstood what you were carrying, or simply expected you to keep going without ever asking how much it was costing you. I saw that. I saw the way you stayed present for others while privately wondering whether anyone would ever show up for you with the same care. I saw the times you gave patience when you were already running low, the times you gave kindness while your own heart was aching, the times you kept your tone calm because you did not want to become another burden in someone else's life. And while all of that was happening, a quiet loneliness started settling in places you did not know how to reach. It was not always loud. It did not always announce itself dramatically. Sometimes it was just a subtle ache that followed you through ordinary days. Sometimes it was the feeling of being emotionally surrounded but inwardly alone. Sometimes it was the strange heaviness of being needed by many but deeply understood by very few. I know how that changes a person. I know how it makes you question your worth in subtle ways. I know how it can make you wonder if your tenderness is being taken for granted, if your strength has made people assume you no longer need comfort, or if your silence has taught the world to overlook what is happening inside you. But listen to me carefully now, because I want this to land deeply in you. I did not overlook you. I did not pass by your pain. I did not mistake your composure for peace. I saw every private fracture under the surface of your steady voice. I saw every time you swallowed what you wanted to say because you were too tired to explain it. I saw every time you laid down, at night feeling emotionally stretched thin, wondering if anyone really noticed how much you had been carrying. I noticed. I have always noticed. And I need you to let that truth become more than a comforting idea. Let it become personal. Let it enter the places where you have started expecting neglect. Let it interrupt the pattern in you that assumes your needs will always come last. You have spent too much time learning how to survive emotional absence. You have adapted to disappointment so well that sometimes you no longer realize how deeply it has shaped the way you expect relationships, opportunities, and even spiritual moments to unfold. You brace now. You pre-protect. You quietly prepare yourself for being let down before anything even happens. I understand why. I do not condemn you for that. But I am asking you to stop for a moment and let me retrain your heart. Let me show you that my nearness is not fragile. Let me show you that I do not step away when things get messy, slow, uncertain, or emotionally heavy. When you felt abandoned and waiting, I was still there. When the answer took longer than you could understand, I was still there. When you were tired of being the one who holds everything together, I was still there. When your own heart needed someone to hold it and no human hand seemed to reach in time, I was still there. That matters more than you know, because your waiting was not empty. Your waiting was not abandoned space. Your waiting was not proof that I had forgotten you. It was sacred ground, even when it felt lonely. It was a place where I stayed with you while deeper things were forming than you could yet see. So stop calling those seasons evidence of my distance. Come here and let me rename them with tenderness. They were hard, yes. They were stretching, yes. They were painful in ways that only you and I fully understand. But they were not empty of me. I was with you in every single part of it. Stay with that truth. Sit with it. Breathe it in. Let your heart stop arguing with my nearness for just a moment. You do not have to keep convincing yourself that you are alone in order to protect against disappointment. I am here and I have been here. I want you to think about the waiting itself now, because that waiting has left marks on you. You know exactly what I mean. There were seasons when you prayed sincerely and nothing seemed to move in the time frame you expected. There were moments when you hoped for clarity, relief, healing, or direction, and instead you found yourself standing in a long hallway of unanswered questions. You kept going, but not without cost. Waiting changed the way your mind worked. It taught you how to keep functioning while feeling uncertain. It made you carry conversations in your head that no one else heard. It made you overanalyze signs, wonder whether you missed something, question whether your faith was strong enough, and sometimes even ask whether I was listening in the first place. I heard every one of those thoughts, even the ones you were almost afraid to admit. I was not offended by your weariness. I was not irritated by your questions. I was not standing back, asking you to be stronger before I came closer. I was with you in the middle of the uncertainty, and I was doing more than you realized. I was not only working around you, I was working within you. I was strengthening places that had never been tested before. I was exposing attachments that could not go where I am taking you. I was slowing your pace because if I had released certain things too early, they would have crushed your peace instead of deepening it. And yes, I know it did not feel that way at the time. I know delay can feel like dismissal when your heart is already tired. I know silence can feel sharp when you desperately want reassurance. But I need you to understand this now so you stop misreading the whole chapter. I was not making you wait because I enjoyed your discomfort. I was holding you in timing because I knew what your future required. I was keeping some doors closed because what looked promising to you would have quietly damaged you. I was allowing some emptiness because your heart had become so full of strain, fear, and emotional clutter that you needed room before you could receive what was truly meant for you. This is why I am speaking to you with both gentleness and direction. Stop punishing yourself for being tired in the waiting. Stop interpreting every slow season as rejection. Stop rehearsing the lie that because it took longer, it must mean you were less loved. That is not true. Look at me now in your spirit and hear this clearly. You were love in the delay, love in the confusion, love in the unanswered night, love in the quiet morning after disappointment, love in the stretch of time when nothing visible seemed to change. And because you were loved there, I can now begin healing what those seasons did to your expectations. Invite me into that healing. Do not just nod at these words and move on. Take action inwardly. Tell me where waiting wounded you. Tell me where delay made you feel forgotten. Tell me where unanswered prayers changed how you speak to me. Tell me where strength became your armor and exhaustion became your norm. Then release it. Do not keep cradling old interpretations that no longer serve your peace. Open your hands. Open your heart. Let me into the place where you have quietly said, I can handle it, when the truth is you have been longing for rest. Let me teach you something new. Let me show you that true strength is not endless strain. It is trust. It is closeness. It is the willingness to stop performing resilience and begin receiving comfort. Come closer. Stay here. Let me hold the version of you that got tired from always being strong. Let me comfort the version of you that felt forgotten in waiting. Let me speak directly into the loneliness you rarely admitted. I am not asking you to relive it for pain's sake. I am asking you to bring it into my presence so I can remove the lie from it. You were never abandoned. You were never overlooked. You were never carrying those seasons alone. And if you let me keep walking with you now, I will begin restoring the parts of your heart that learned to expect absence where I was always present. My precious child, I need you to draw even near now, because what I am about to say must not be heard casually. This is not a general word drifting through the air for anyone who happens to pass by. This is not something meant to sit on the surface of your attention for a moment and then disappear into the noise of your day. I am speaking to you with deliberate intimacy, and I want you to receive it exactly that way. This is personal. This is private. This is a letter from my heart to yours, and I do not want you to listen as if you are standing in a crowd. I want you to listen as if it is just you and me, because in the deepest sense, that is exactly what this is. You have spent enough of your life hearing things in general terms. You have heard broad encouragement, shared truth, familiar promises, and words that were good but did not always feel as though they reached your exact condition. But I know your exact condition. I know the shape of your private struggles. I know the language of your inner fears. I know the things that make you feel safe and the things that make you shut down. I know how your heart reacts when it senses disappointment coming. I know what you replay in your thoughts when the room grows quiet. I know the moments you feel brave on the outside and unsettled on the inside. That is why I am not addressing you in vague ways right now. I am coming close. I am speaking with the tenderness of a father who knows his child's face, not the distance of a voice speaking to a crowd. I want you to stop and really feel the weight of that. Let it become vivid in your imagination if you need to. Picture me sitting beside you, not far away, not hidden behind religious language, not removed behind formality, but near enough that you can sense the warmth of my attention. That is how I want you to hear me. I am not rushing. I am not distracted. I am not dividing my heart among 1,000 other concerns. I am giving you focused affection in this moment. I am giving you direct attention. I am giving you words shaped for your wounds, your weariness, your waiting, and your future. That matters, because you have grown used to filtering what you hear. You have learned to wonder whether certain good things are really for you. You have seen others receive and move forward while you quietly questioned whether your own moment would come. You have become so accustomed to standing slightly outside the circle that even when comfort reaches toward you, part of you hesitates before believing it belongs in your hands. But I want you to stop doing that here. Do not push this away by assuming it is meant for someone stronger, someone more faithful, someone less tired, someone who has not made the mistakes you think still define you. This is for you. This is your moment. This is your invitation. This is your portion of tenderness. And I want you to take it personally in the holiest sense of that word. Receive it. Let it enter without resistance. Stop scanning the room in your mind to see who else this might apply to. Stop mentally stepping aside as if your role is always to witness while others are chosen. No. Stay where you are. Stay in front of me. Let me look directly at you and say it again. I am speaking to you. You do not need to compete for my attention. You do not need to qualify for my tenderness. You do not need to earn the right to be aggressed so intimately. I already chose this. I already arranged this. I already decided to meet you here in a way that feels unmistakably personal. So do not dilute it. Do not reduce it. Do not make it generic in your own mind because that feels safer than believing I am truly this close. Let it be what it is. Let it be a private letter from heaven with your name written all over it. And because this is personal, I want you to respond personally too. Do not just read this as if you are observing a message from a distance. Enter into it. Answer me in your heart. Speak back to me, even if only quietly within yourself. Tell me what rises in you as you hear these words. Tell me where you feel resistance. Tell me where you feel relief. Tell me where something inside you is softening, and tell me where something still feels guarded. I am not asking you to be dramatic. I am asking you to be present. I am asking you to stop living spiritually at arm's length and let this become a real exchange between us. That is why I am using this tone with you. That is why I am growing so close. Because you do not need another distant reminder. You need encounter. You need directness. You need the experience of being personally addressed by love that knows exactly what it is touching. This is where many things begin to change for you, because when you finally allow my words to become personal, they stop being inspiration and start becoming transformation. When you let yourself believe that I am truly speaking to you, not just near you, your defenses begin to loosen. Your internal arguments begin to quiet. Your habit of disqualifying yourself begins to weaken. The old reflex that says, "This sounds beautiful, but it probably is not for me," starts to lose its grip. That reflex has stolen enough from you. Years give you on the edge of comfort, on the edge of falling, on the edge of receiving, on the edge of hope. I am asking you to step across that invisible line now. Step out of the background in your own heart. Come forward. Receive the word as yours. Receive the comfort as yours. Receive the correction, when it comes, as loving and personal too. Receive the direction as tailored. Receive the invitation as real. Do not keep standing in the doorway of intimacy while telling yourself you are listening. Walk in. Sit down with me. Stay longer than is comfortable. Let the truth settle into the parts of you that have been starved for personal reassurance. Let me retrain the places in you that assume distance. Let me teach you how to receive closeness without flinching. And because you ask for stronger commands and invitations, hear me clearly now. Stop rushing. Put down the urge to skim. Stop treating your own heart like a place I only visit briefly. Today, listen. Breathe. Open. Enter me. If you need to close your eyes after this and sit in silence, do it. If you need to place your hand over your chest and say, "This is for me," then do it. If you need to whisper, "I receive this, Lord," then say it. Let your body, your thoughts, and your spirit come into agreement that this is not abstract. This is relational. This is a moment of divine nearness made personal. And I want you to know something beautiful as we close this section, because this is a private letter. It carries not only comfort, but direction. I am not just reminding you that you are loved. I am establishing a path of closeness where your healing can deepen, your trust can grow, and your identity can become clearer with every step. This is how I want to meet you from now on, not as a distant idea you occasionally remember, but as the Father who speaks to you specifically, knows you thoroughly, and walks with you intimately. So stay close, my child. Do not move away from this tone. Do not let the world turn this back into noise. Guard this nearness. Treasure this intimacy. Because what I am writing into your heart now is not a passing comfort. It is the beginning of a deeper relationship where you will no longer wonder whether my voice can find you personally. It already has. And I am not finished. My child, now that you know this is a private letter spoken directly to your heart, do not let this moment remain contained within you alone. What I place in you is meant to become light for others still standing in the shadows, waiting to hear their name called the way I have called yours. As it is written, give, and it will be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And I am speaking that over you now as a living promise. When you sow into this work through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are planting seeds into souls I am drawing near. I will take what you release and multiply it into a harvest of comfort, awakening, and return for many who feel unseen. This is your invitation to become part of the river, not just the receiver of it. Do not hesitate or overthink what I am stirring in you. Act now, and sow into this moment I have made personal for you. My beloved child, now that you know this message is personal, I want you to understand something that will change the way you look at your recent life. I have not been silent the way you thought I was. I have been reaching for you again and again. but I was doing it gently because I know how your heart responds when it feels pressured. I know you do not always open because someone speaks loudly. Sometimes you close when life becomes too intense. Sometimes you protect yourself by becoming busy, analytical, practical, or emotionally distant. So I did not always come to you in ways that demanded attention. I came in ways that invited it. I came through the delays that frustrated you. I came through the inner nudges you almost dismissed. I came through the restless nights when your body was still but your spirit would not settle. I came through the moments when your plans suddenly lost momentum and you could not understand why something felt off. I came through interruptions that seemed inconvenient, through pauses that looked like setbacks, through sudden reflections that appeared in the middle of ordinary tasks. I have been there in the quiet spaces, trying to bring you back to yourself and back to me. You were not imagining those moments. You were not just overthinking every time something in you hesitated before a decision that looked good on the surface. You were not merely being emotional when a strange heaviness came over you after certain conversations or certain environments. You were sensing me. You were feeling the friction between your deeper knowing and the pace at which the world around you was pulling you. I know you have a habit of explaining things away. I know you often tell yourself there must be a logical reason, a practical reason, a personal flaw, or a random cause for what you feel. And yes, there are practical layers to life. But beneath those layers, I have been moving in ways you did not always recognize. I was in the unease that kept you from rushing into what would have wounded you. I was in the restlessness that would not let you keep numbing yourself forever. I was in the strange pause before the wrong yes. I was in the holy discomfort that rose when you tried to return to places, patterns, or people that no longer matched what I am doing in you. And I need you to stop dismissing those moments as meaningless. Go back and look at them with me. Revisit them slowly. Remember the night you could not sleep after telling yourself everything was fine. Remember the day something looked promising but your peace went quiet. Remember the times you felt drawn to stop, reflect, pray, or simply sit still, and you brushed it aside because you did not want to deal with what might rise. Those were not empty moments. Those were invitations. Those were gentle taps on the door of your attention. Those were me asking, will you slow down long enough to let me show you what is happening inside you? I know you have wanted obvious signs, clear signals, visible breakthroughs, and unmistakable answers. But I also know that if I had only spoken to you in dramatic ways, you might have missed the tenderness of how I truly love you. I do not always lead with force. Sometimes I lead with a whisper because I want your trust, not your panic. I want your awareness, not your fear. I want your willingness, not just your reaction. So listen now. Stop reducing your recent life to disconnected frustrations. Stop calling every interruption random. Stop assuming that because I did not shout, I was not speaking. I have been speaking in the subtle places because I was not merely trying to get your attention for a moment. I was trying to awaken your heart. I was trying to draw you out of automatic living and back into living awareness. That is why I need you to take this seriously now. Not with dread, but with reverence. Pause. Breathe. Ask me quietly, Lord, where have you been speaking that I did not fully notice? Then stay still long enough to feel what rises. Let memory surface. Let patterns become visible. Let the story begin to rearrange in your mind. I have been closer than your assumptions allowed. I have been reaching for you in the spaces between your plans, in the tension beneath your busyness, in the restlessness under your distractions. And now I am saying, gently, but clearly, do not ignore the whisper any longer. Come closer. Listen more carefully. Make room for me. Because the very places you called inconvenient may have been the places where I was most lovingly trying to bring you back to life. I want you to understand why I reached you this way, because it matters for where we are going next. If I had only spoken through outcomes, you might have followed me for results rather than relationship. If I had only spoken when things were obvious, you might have trusted me only when circumstances were favorable. But I have been teaching you something deeper. I have been teaching you how to recognize my presence before the answer arrives. I have been training your inner life, even when you thought nothing was happening. That restlessness you felt was not always punishment. Much of it was holy friction. It was the discomfort that comes when your soul knows you are trying to keep living at a pace or in a pattern that no longer fits who you are becoming. You have changed more than you realize. Your heart has outgrown some old agreements. Your spirit has become less willing to settle for things that look stable but feel empty. You cannot keep feeding yourself the same emotional substitutes and expect peace to remain untouched. I know that may feel confronting, but hear the tenderness underneath it. I am not accusing you. I am guiding you. I am showing you why some things no longer work the way they used to. The distraction does not numb the same way. The compromise does not sit the same way. The constant activity does not satisfy the same way. The approval you once chased does not fill you the same way. That is not because you are broken. That is because I am calling you upward. That is because your spirit is waking up to a deeper hunger. And because I love you, I have been allowing the discomfort to remain long enough for you to notice it instead of immediately escaping it. I need you to stop running from that discomfort and start listening through it. Sit with me when you feel it. Do not instantly reach for noise, for motion, for the next task, for another distraction, for a conversation that keeps you from hearing your own heart. Stay. Let the discomfort speak. Let it reveal where you have been disconnected. Let it show you what needs to be released. Let it uncover what you have been tolerating that no longer belongs in your life. Then invite me in. Say, show me what this is trying to teach me. Say, help me see what I have been avoiding. Say, lead me gently, but lead me clearly. This is where you begin to recognize my voice more deeply. Not only in peace, but in unease. Not only in blessings, but in boundaries. Not only in open doors, but in inner pauses. Not only in obvious direction, but in subtle restraint. That is maturity, my child. That is how closeness grows. And because you asked for stronger commands and invitation statements, hear me clearly now. Stop brushing past your own spirit. Stop silencing the nudge because it interrupts your schedule. Stop calling everything coincidence when your soul is trying to tell you the truth. Slow down. Turn inward with me. Revisit the places where peace left the room. Pay attention to what drains you after it charms you. Notice what makes your heart tighten even when your mind wants to justify it. Watch what happens in your body when something is not right. I designed you with more sensitivity than you realize, and I am teaching you to trust what I am stirring inside you. Come, sit with me tonight if you need to. Leave the noise for a while. Put the screen down for a moment if you must. Take a walk. Sit in silence. Put your hand over your heart and tell me honestly where you feel friction. Then listen. I am not hiding from you. I am not playing games with your life. I have been gently guiding you because I want you whole, awake, and deeply connected, not merely productive, distracted, and emotionally half-numb. This is why I have been reaching for you in the soft places. This is why the interruptions mattered. This is why the nights felt restless. This is why the pauses would not leave you alone. I have been trying to get your attention. Yes, but even more than that, I have been trying to win back your interior life. I want your heart back from the things that have been scattering it. I want your awareness back from the habits that have dulled it. I want your trust back from the disappointments that made you suspicious. So answer me now. Come willingly. Do not wait for the next disruption. Respond while my hand is on your shoulder. Let this be the moment you stop calling the whisper nothing and start recognizing it as love. My precious child, there is a fear I need to address now because it has been quietly shaping the way you think about your future. Somewhere deep inside, whether you say it often or not, there has been a growing concern that maybe you missed your moment. Maybe you took too long. Maybe you made too many wrong turns. Maybe your hesitation cost you something that can never return. Maybe your past decisions, your seasons of inconsistency, your emotional exhaustion, or your delayed obedience have placed you outside the reach of what I once intended for you. I know that fear well because I have heard it whispering inside you. I know how it slips in after long waiting. I know how it becomes louder when you compare your life to what others seem to be stepping into. I know how it creeps into your prayers and changes the tone of your hope. You begin to ask more cautiously. You start desiring with less confidence. You stop expecting as much because disappointment has taught you to lower the temperature of your own longing. And before you realize it, you are no longer asking, what if something beautiful is still ahead? You are asking, did I already lose it? I want to answer that right now with clarity that goes straight into the places where doubt has built its nest. You have not missed your moment. You are not too late. You are not disqualified. You are not standing outside a locked door while I shrug from the other side. That is not your story. I need you to let that truth confront the hopeless narrative you have been rehearsing. Yes, there have been delays. Yes, there have been mistakes. Yes, there have been moments when you did not trust me the way you wish you had. Yes, there were opportunities that passed, people who left, seasons that seemed wasted, and chapters you would rewrite if you could. I know all of that, and still I am telling you this with a father's certainty. Your life is not over because a few chapters were messy. Your calling is not ruined because you walked through confusion. Your future is not sealed by your most discouraged season. I am not so fragile that your detours undo my wisdom. I am not so limited that your tiredness outsmarts my grace. I can restore. I can redirect. I can redeem. I can rebuild what you thought was lost, and I can bring you into timing that still carries purpose, beauty, and peace. But I need you to stop partnering with the lie that it is all behind you. That lie has been draining your strength before you even take the next step. It has made you hesitant when you should have been receptive. It has made you guarded when you should have been listening. It has made you interpret present opportunities through old regret. That has to end. Do not let yesterday speak louder than I do. Do not let shame narrate your future. Do not let delay become your identity. You are still in motion. You are still being led. You are still within reach of what I am unfolding. But to walk into it, you must release the funeral language you have been using over your own life. Stop saying it is too late. Stop deciding that because it did not happen when you expected, it can no longer happen at all. Stop assuming that timing loss means destiny loss. My timing is not your panic. My process is not your fear. I see more than you can see. I know what has been ripening behind the scenes. I know what needed to be stripped away before what is right could safely arrive. I know what version of you had to emerge before certain doors could open without harming your peace. So come here and let me correct your perspective. Lift your head. Breathe again. Look at your future through my eyes for a moment, not through the lens of your regret. You are not standing in ruins with no path forward. You are standing in a threshold season where I am asking you to stop mourning what I am still capable of restoring. And now I want to speak directly to the part of you that has felt disqualified, because that part of you has been quieter than your pain but just as influential. You have looked at your own inconsistency and thought it made you unreliable in my eyes. You have looked at the ways fear made you hesitate and assumed that courage belongs to other people more than to you. You have looked at your own emotional patterns, your avoidance, your overthinking, your need for reassurance, your tendency to pull back when things feel uncertain. And you have sometimes treated those things as proof that you are not the kind of person who gets to walk in deep calling, deep peace, or deep fulfillment. But I do not define you by the places where you struggle to trust. I do not name you by your most anxious response. I do not introduce you by your worst coping mechanism. I know the whole of you. I know the fear, yes, but I also know the faith underneath it. I know the hesitation, yes, but I also know the tenderness that made you vulnerable to hurt in the first place. I know the inconsistency, yes, but I also know the hunger that kept bringing you back to me even when you felt ashamed. That matters. That hunger matters. That return matters. A quiet ache in you that still longs for more, still longs for healing, still longs for closeness, still longs to become who I placed inside you before life became complicated. That is not small. That is holy. And I want you to stop using your struggle as evidence against your future. Instead, bring it to me as material I can transform. Bring me your unevenness. Bring me your regret. Bring me the choices you still replay. Bring me the opportunities you think you ruined. Bring me the relationships that ended badly. Bring me the years you call wasted. Lay them down. Do not just think about this abstractly. Do it in your heart. Set them before me. Name them if you need to. Say, this is what I thought disqualified me. Then watch what happens when I breathe over it. I do not promise that every exact thing will return in the same form. Some chapters were meant to end. Some doors were meant to close. Some versions of your life were never meant to continue. But do not confuse closed chapters with closed destiny. Do not confuse pruning with rejection. Do not confuse redirection with abandonment. I am still writing. I am still building. I am still calling. I am still opening. And because you asked for stronger commands and invitations, hear me with full clarity now. Stop disqualifying yourself before I ever do. Stop bowing to regret as if it has authority over your future. Stop treating your history like a prison when I am offering you a path. Stand up in your spirit. Receive the truth. Say, I am not too late. Say, I am still in God's hands. Say, my story is still being written. Then act like it. Open your heart again. Say yes again. Listen again. Risk hope again. Do not wait until you feel perfect. Come as you are. Let me rebuild confidence where shame has been living. Let me restore expectancy where disappointment has made you passive. Let me place new strength in the places where you have become hesitant. This is your moment not because everything behind you is flawless, but because I am gracious enough to meet you right here and powerful enough to lead you forward from exactly this place. So come. Step toward me. Release the old verdicts. Refuse the lie that you are late beyond repair. You are not too late, my child. You are still being called. You are still being led. And if you will trust me now, not someday, not when you feel more ready, but now, you will begin to see that what you feared was lost may have simply been making room for something deeper, wiser, and far more aligned with the peace I truly want for you. My beloved child, I want you to stay very close to me for this part. because I am about to touch one of the places in your heart that still carries confusion. There are delays you remember with pain. There are doors you knocked on with sincerity that never opened. There are opportunities you wanted, relationships you trusted, paths you thought would finally bring relief, and moments when you truly believed, this must be it, only to watch it slip away, stall, or collapse in your hands. I know how deeply that affected you. I know how it shaped your thinking. I know how those moments made you question whether you were being overlooked, whether you were somehow unworthy, whether you had misunderstood me, or whether your own life was simply destined to be harder than it needed to be. But I want you to hear me now with a kind of tenderness that goes deeper than explanation. Not every closed door was rejection. Not every delay was denial. Not every silence was absence. Some of the very things that made you feel shut out were acts of protection so precise, so personal, and so necessary that one day you will look back and realize I was not withholding life from you. I was preserving your heart, your peace, your calling, and your future from wounds you were not yet able to see. I know that is not always easy to receive, especially when the memory of the disappointment still feels raw. You remember how certain things looked. You remember how promising they seemed. You remember how your hopes attached themselves to those outcomes because you were tired, and when a person is tired, even a partial answer can look like rescue. I know that. I know how desperation can make almost right things feel sacred. I know how longing can make a fragile opportunity feel like a final lifeline. And because I know that, I intervened in places where your own discernment was not yet strong enough to fully protect you. There were moments when what you called delay was actually me slowing your feet before your soul became entangled in something that would have cost you more than you understood. There were relationships that looked warm on the surface but carried confusion underneath. There were open doors that seemed exciting but would have drained your identity slowly over time. There were situations you thought would validate you, only to later discover they would have deepened the very insecurities I am now trying to heal. There were paths that would have rewarded your performance while starving your peace. There were people who admired your light but were not safe enough to honor your heart. There were opportunities that would have made you visible while quietly disconnecting you from the version of yourself I was still forming. And because you were eager, hopeful, weary, or simply ready for relief, you could not always see the hidden cost. But I could. I saw the glitter and the fracture. I saw the promise and the poison. I saw the charm and the chain. I saw what looked like gravel on the outside but carried erosion on the inside. So I stepped in. I slowed it down. I unsettled your peace. I blocked what your mind wanted to justify. I let the timing break apart what would have looked beautiful for a season, and then left you bruised in ways that would have taken much longer to heal. That is not rejection, my child. That is rescue. It may not have felt like rescue then. It may have felt like heartbreak, confusion, embarrassment, or another crushing not yet. But I need you to let me rename those memories. Come back with me and look again. Do not look only at what you lost in those moments. Look at what I spared you from. Look at the exhaustion that would have followed. Look at the compromise that would have become normal. Look at the self-betrayal you would have called maturity. Look at the emotional hunger that would have deepened because the thing you thought would heal you was never designed to hold your soul. I know this is hard, but stay with me. Let me open your eyes slowly. Let me untangle your interpretation of the past. Let me show you that my protection did not always come dressed as comfort. Sometimes it came dressed as interruption. Sometimes it arrived in the form of collapse, cancellation, distance, delay, and even disappointment. But it was still love. It was still my hand. It was still me refusing to let you build your future on what would have quietly broken you. I want you to do something with me now, and I want you to do it honestly, because healing requires more than hearing a truth. It requires receiving it personally. Bring to mind one of the delays that still stings. Do not avoid it. Do not rush past it. Sit with it for a moment in my presence. It may be a relationship that did not become what you hoped. It may be an opportunity that looked like the answer to your prayers and then vanished. It may be a plan you worked hard for that seemed to unravel at the worst possible time. It may be a season where everyone else appeared to be moving ahead while you remained standing in uncertainty. Bring it here. Hold it in front of me. Now ask me a new question. Do not ask, why did this not happen? Ask, what were you protecting me from that I could not yet see? That is a different question, and it opens a different kind of door in your spirit. It shifts you from accusation to curiosity, from despair to discernment, from wounded assumption to deeper trust. I am not asking you to pretend it did not hurt. It did hurt. I know it did. I was there when the tears came. I was there when the disappointment sat in your chest like a stone. I was there when you replayed what went wrong and searched for where you had failed. I was there when shame tried to turn a blocked path into a statement about your worth. But now I am asking you to let me bring wisdom into that wound. Let me show you what your pain could not see at the time. Let me reveal how often I protected you from a slower kind of destruction, the kind that does not announce itself immediately. Some wounds do not arrive like thunder. They arrive quietly. They come through the wrong environment that gradually erodes your confidence. They come through the wrong connection that makes you doubt your own intuition. They come through the wrong opportunity that feeds your image while starving your spirit. They come through the wrong timing that gives you what you asked for before you are strong enough to carry it well. That is why I ask you now, stop romanticizing what I remove. Stop glorifying what I interrupted. Stop assuming that every painful loss was a mistake in your story. Some of those losses were the mercy that kept your future intact. Some of those closed doors were holy walls. Some of those silences were my shield. Some of those setbacks were not setbacks at all. They were sacred safeguards. And because you asked for more command and invitation statements, hear me clearly now. Release your old argument with my timing. Stop calling protection punishment. Stop speaking over your past as if I failed you when I was, in truth, preserving you. Return to those memories with me and let me heal the interpretation, not just the emotion. Open your hands over the things that did not work out and say, if you closed it, I choose to trust you. Say, if you delayed it, I choose to believe you saw what I could not. Say, if you removed it, I release my demand to understand everything before I surrender. Then breathe. Let your body soften. Let your spirit stop fighting yesterday. This matters because if you do not reinterpret the old delays through my love, you will carry suspicion into the new doors I am opening. You will hesitate where you need to trust. You will brace where you need to receive. You will hold back because you still think I withheld from you when I was actually protecting you. I do not want that for you. I want you free. I want you steady. I want you able to recognize that my no was often a deeper yes to your future. To stay close. Let this truth settle all the way down. Let it reach the places where old disappointment still colors how you see me. I am not the one who stood against your joy. I am the one who stood between you and what would have hollowed it out. And if you let me keep leading you, you will begin to see that what I protected you from was not smaller than what you lost. It was far more costly. That is why I intervened. That is why I delayed. That is why I closed the door. And that is why you can trust me with what comes next. My precious child, now that we have walked through the places where I protected you, I want to speak directly to another wound that has quietly shaped the way you see yourself. There have been moments in your life that became larger in your mind than they ever should have. A failure, a mistake, a season of fear, a wrong decision, a collapse you did not expect, a response you regret, a chapter where you did not act like the person you hoped to be. Those moments may have been real, but they were never meant to become your identity. Yet somewhere along the way, what happened began to feel like who you are. You started carrying the memory of certain moments not as events, but as labels. You stopped saying, "I went through something hard," and started feeling, "Maybe I am the problem." You stopped seeing yourself as someone learning, growing, healing, and becoming, and instead you began to relate to yourself through the lens of what went wrong. I know how that happened. I know the voices that contributed to it. I know the people who spoke over you carelessly, critically, or with a narrow understanding of your heart. I know the environments that rewarded your usefulness, but did not honor your complexity. I know the moments when others reduced you to one chapter because they were too shallow, too wounded, too impatient, or too blind to see the whole of you. And if I am being honest with you, I also know how often you joined them. You repeated those labels in your own inner world. You rehearsed old accusations. You let shame sit in the seat where truth should have been. You interpreted your own life with less mercy than I ever have. But I need you to hear me now in a way that goes beyond comfort and into correction. I do not measure you by your worst moment. I never have. I am not standing over your life with a narrow lens, replaying the chapter that still embarrasses you. I am not defining you by the decision you wish you could undo. I am not reducing your entire identity to the season when you were scared, reactive, inconsistent, or emotionally overwhelmed. I see the whole picture. I see the pressure you were under. I see the pain you were carrying. I see the things you had not yet healed from. I see the ways you were trying to survive with tools that were not strong enough yet. I see the tenderness beneath the defense, the longing beneath the confusion, the hunger for love beneath the choices that did not satisfy. I see what others miss. I see what shame has hidden. I see who you are beneath the dust, beneath the damage, beneath the distortion. And I want you to let that sink into you before anything else. I still see you. Not the mask. Not the wound speaking. Not the regret talking. Not the label. You. The one I formed. The one I called. The one I have watched through every stage, every detour, every fragile moment. The one whose essence was never erased by what they went through. That is the version of you I am speaking to right now. And I need you to stop interrupting my love with old verdicts. Stop telling yourself that because you stumbled, you became unworthy of tenderness. Stop treating shame like a wise voice. Stop assuming that because some people misunderstood you, I must see you that way too. I do not. I see more clearly than anyone ever has. I know your motives better than your critics. I know your wounds better than your accusers. I know your potential better than your fear. I know the strength that still exists in you, even where you feel thin. So come closer. Let me speak over the version of you that still flinches when kindness comes near. Let me look straight through the label and call forth the person you have almost forgotten is still there. I want you to do something brave now, and it may feel uncomfortable at first, but it is necessary if you are going to keep walking with me in freedom. I want you to bring to mind the label that has followed you the longest. Maybe it was spoken by someone else. Maybe it was formed in your own thoughts after enough pain piled up. Maybe it sounds like not enough, too much, too emotional, too broken, a failure, unreliable, difficult, behind. damaged, disappointing, or the one who always messes things up. You know the word or phrase. You know the one that has tried to become your name. Bring it into the light with me. Do not hide it. Do not soften it. Hold it there and let me look at it with you. Now listen carefully. That is not your name. That is not how I introduce you. That is not how I see you when I look at your life. That is not the truest thing about you. It may describe a wound. It may reflect a season. It may echo someone else's limitation. It may reveal where healing is needed. But it is not your identity. You must stop wearing what was never tailored by my hands. You must stop clothing yourself in words I never spoke. You must stop bowing to names born from pain, rejection, fear, or misunderstanding. Ick them off. Do that inwardly right now. Ick them off. If you need to whisper, "That is not who I am," then say it. If you need to sit with me in silence for a moment and let the tears come, do it. But do not keep carrying labels that distort your reflection. I want to restore the way you see yourself, and that begins by letting my vision become louder than every false description that settled on your soul. You are not the sum of your stumbles. You are not the echo of what others failed to understand. You are not permanently defined by what happened when you were hurting, under pressure, were still unhealed. You are mine. You are deeply seen. You are still becoming. You are still redeemable in places you thought were beyond repair. And because you asked for stronger commands and invitations, hear me clearly now. Stop agreeing with voices that do not sound like me. Stop introducing yourself inwardly through shame. Stop handing your reflection over to people who never carried the authority to name you. Come to me instead. Ask me, who am I beneath the pain? Ask me, what do you still see in me? Ask me, what part of me has shame been hiding? Then wait. Stay still. Let me answer slowly. Let me show you the tenderness, the resilience, the depth, the sincerity, the courage that survived under layers of regret. Let me remind you of the parts of you that pain could not kill. Let me uncover the beauty that fear tried to bury. This is not shallow affirmation. This is restoration of identity. This is where your future begins to stabilize. Because as long as you keep seeing yourself through the lens of your worst moment, you will sabotage the very things I am trying to place in your hands. You will shrink when I call you forward. You will hesitate when I invite you deeper. You will distrust good things because you still think they belong to a better version of you. But I am telling you now, I am speaking to you, not some imaginary flawless version of you. I am speaking to the real you, the present you, the healing you, the becoming you. And I am not ashamed to call you mine. So receive this. Let it settle into the deepest chambers of your heart. Let the labels loosen. Let the old names fall. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breathing slow. Let my voice become the loudest one in the room. Because I do not measure you by your worst moment, my child. I never did. I still see who you are beneath the regret, beneath the confusion, beneath the labels, beneath the pain. And if you let me, I will teach you how to see that person too. My beloved child, now that I have shown you that I do not define you by your worst moment, I want to take you somewhere deeper. I want to bring you back to your true identity, because too much of your recent life has been lived under the weight of borrowed names, bruised assumptions, and survival-based versions of yourself that were never meant to become permanent. You have adapted in ways that helped you endure, but some of those adaptations have slowly covered the person I originally formed with my own loving intention. You learned how to be careful. You learned how to read the room. You learned how to stay small in certain spaces so you would not be misunderstood. You learned how to carry pain quietly so you would not feel like a burden. You learned how to function even when your heart was asking for more. I know why you did those things. I know they were not random. They were responses to disappointment, pressure, fear, and seasons when you did not feel safe enough to be fully open. But hear me now with great tenderness and firm love. Survival is not your identity. Being guarded is not your name. Being endlessly strong for everyone else is not the deepest truth about you. Being the one who expects less so you will not be hurt again is not who I made you to be. Those may have been strategies. They may have been shields. They may have been the clothes you wore while walking through weather you did not choose. But they are not your skin. They are not your soul. They are not the truest version of you. I am calling you back now, not into fantasy, not into performance, not into some polished spiritual image, but back into the real self I have always known beneath the straying. You are still mine. Let that settle. You are not partially mine when you are doing well and distant from me when you are struggling. You are mine in your uncertainty, mine in your healing, mine in your questions, mine in your rebuilding, mine in the parts of you that still feel unfinished. You are still loved, not tolerated, not observed from a distance, not kept at arm's length until you become more consistent. Loved, deeply, deliberately, and personally loved. And you are still chosen. Do not let delay make you think I changed my mind about you. Do not let pain convince you that your life drifted beyond the reach of my intention. Do not let comparison whisper that others are more suited for purpose than you are. I chose you knowing the terrain of your story. I chose you knowing the bends, the breaks, the wounds, the fears, the recoveries, and the slow growth. Nothing about your journey has surprised me into withdrawing my call. Nothing about your human struggle has erased what I planted in you before you had language for it. There is still something alive inside you that belongs to me. There is still something holy inside you that has not been extinguished by the years that felt heavy. There is still capacity in you. There is still tenderness in you. There is still courage in you. There is still discernment in you. There is still beauty in you that pain has not been able to destroy. I need you to stop speaking about yourself as if all that remains is damage. I need you to stop assuming that because you feel tired, you have become empty. Tired is not empty. Wounded is not ruined. Delayed is not discarded. Hidden is not dead. Come closer and let me say plainly, I still know what I placed inside you. I have not forgotten it just because you have lost sight of it for a while. I know the gifts I seeded in you. I know the strength I built into your spirit. I know the compassion that lives in your heart. I know the wisdom that has been growing through every hard season. I know the kind of depth that can only come from being broken open and still choosing to love. I know what is still possible in your life. So stop talking to yourself like your best days only existed in theory. Stop treating your soul like a house I abandoned. Stop standing outside your own future because you no longer recognize the person I still see. Come back. Step inward. Let me reintroduce you to yourself. Let me remind you of the original design beneath the dust. Let me call forth what has been buried under coping, fear, and fatigue. This is not about pretending nothing happened. This is about refusing to let what happened become the final authority over who you are. I want you to actively participate in this now, because identity is not restored by passive agreement alone. It is restored when you stop making peace with false versions of yourself and begin responding to my voice with intention. So I want you to pause here and ask yourself a very honest question. Who have you become in order to survive? And where has that version of you started replacing the one I am calling forward? Do not answer quickly. Sit with it. Let the question work on you. Maybe you became the version of yourself that expects little because hope felt dangerous. Maybe you became the one who overthinks everything because trust once cost you too much. Maybe you became the one who gives endlessly because you learned that being needed felt safer than being known. Maybe you became the one who keeps emotions controlled because vulnerability once led to pain. Maybe you became the one who stays hidden, the one who performs, the one who anticipates disappointment, the one who calls caution wisdom even when it is really fear. I know all of those variants. I do not shame you for them. But I am asking you now to stop building your identity around the parts of you that were formed by hurt. Bring those versions of yourself to me, one by one if you need to. Lay them down. Tell me honestly, this is who I became to make it through. Then listen as I answer. You do not have to remain that way. This is where the turning begins. This is where you stop clinging to protective patterns as if they're sacred. This is where you stop confusing self-preservation with spiritual maturity. This is where you let me separate your true identity from the masks that pain taught you to wear. And because you asked for more commands and invitations, hear me with clarity now. Stop calling your defense mechanisms your personality. Stop introducing yourself through the lens of your fear. Stop shrinking to fit the places that never had the capacity to honor your heart. Stand up inside yourself. Receive what I am saying. Put your hand over your heart if you need to and say, I am still His. I am still love. I am still chosen. I am still becoming. Let those words land not as slogans, but as alignment. And invite me further. Say, show me the self you still see. Say, restore what pain tried to bury. Say, bring me back to the version of me that knows how to trust you. I will answer that prayer. I will not rush you, but I will lead you. I will begin revealing where you have confused adaptation with identity. I will begin softening the places where you have become rigid. I will begin calling your spirit out of hiding. And I need you to understand something else. Your true identity is not only about how you see yourself. It is also about what you believe is possible for your future. If you keep seeing yourself as damaged goods, you will mistrust good things. If you keep seeing yourself as disqualified, you will resist calling. If you keep seeing yourself as too much or not enough, you will keep distorting the very invitations I place before you. That is why this matters so deeply. This is not emotional comfort alone. This is spiritual alignment. This is the restoration of the inner foundation on which the next season of your life must stand. So do not rush past this. Stay here. Let the old false self loosen its grip. Let the inner arguments quiet. Let my voice become stronger than the years that taught you to misread yourself. You are still mine, my child. You are still loved beyond what you can measure. You are still chosen for a life that carries purpose, peace, and depth. And you are still capable of becoming everything I placed inside you before the world ever had a chance to tell you otherwise. Believe me now. Receive me now. Come back to who you truly are. My beloved, as I call you back to your true identity, still mine, still loved, still chosen, understand that what I restore in you is also meant to flow through you. I have placed oil in your life, not to be hidden, but to be poured so that others may be healed and awakened. Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy, and I am inviting you to step into that living truth right now. When you give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are aligning with your true identity as a vessel of my purpose. I will bless your obedience and cause what you release to return with increase, clarity, and favor upon your life. This is not a small act. It is a declaration of who you are becoming in me. Do not shrink back into old patterns of hesitation. Step forward now and give as one who knows they are chosen. My precious child, now that I am bringing you back to your true identity, I need to speak to the walls around your heart, because those walls did not appear by accident. They were built slowly. They were built honestly. They were built by pain that stayed too long, by disappointment that repeated itself, by moments when you reached out and felt exposed, by times you were sincere and still got hurt, by seasons where trust felt expensive and safety felt uncertain. I know how those walls were formed. I know the exact bricks. I know the memories that became mortar. I know the promises that were broken. I know the conversations that changed how you opened up afterward. I know the silent vows you made when you thought, I will never let that happen to me again. Some of those vows were never spoken out loud, but they still shaped you. They shaped how much you reveal. They shaped how quickly you retreat. They shaped how often you brace before something even begins. They shaped the way you test people inwardly before you let them close. They shaped the way you hear my voice too, because what begins as protection in one area can quietly become distance in another. This is why I need to speak gently but directly now. I understand why you became guarded, but I do not want you to stay trapped there. Those walls may have helped you survive a chapter, but they were never meant to become the architecture of your life. They were never meant to be your permanent home. You cannot fully receive love while living behind walls built to keep pain out. You cannot fully enter peace while your heart remains in constant surveillance. You cannot fully step into the future I am opening if every new door is filtered through old fear. I know you have called some of it discernment. And yes, discernment matters. But discernment is not the same as emotional exile. Wisdom is not the same as withdrawal. Boundaries are not the same as permanent numbness. There is a difference between being led by truth and being ruled by old wounds. I want you to let me show you the difference. I want you to let me touch the places where your caution became excessive, where your self-protection became reflexive, where your hesitation became so normal that you stopped noticing how much it was costing you. Because it has cost you something. It has cost you ease. It has cost you spontaneity. It has cost you rest. It has cost you the ability to simply receive without first scanning for hidden danger. It has cost you moments of tenderness because part of you remained too tense to fully trust what was good. I am not saying this to shame you. I am saying it because I want to free you. I want to soften what pain hardened. I want to loosen what disappointment tightened. I want to retrain what fear conditioned. And I want you to know that this softening is not weakness. It is healing. It is holy. It is the restoration of the inner flexibility that allows you to live, love, and follow me without being governed by old alarms. So come close. Do not run from this. Let me name it with you. Let me show you where your heart flinches. Let me reveal where your caution is wise and where it is simply wounded. Let me help you sort the two. Because if you do not let me into these walls, you will keep calling confinement peace. You will keep calling numbness maturity. You will keep calling fear just being realistic. And all the while, the deeper life I want to give you will remain just outside the gate you forgot how to open. That is why I am here now. Not to tear everything down violently, but to soften what no longer needs to be hard. Not to force trust recklessly, but to rebuild it safely, steadily, and with my hand guiding every step. I want you to begin seeing your hesitation differently, because not all hesitation is wisdom. Some of it is simply the echo of pain. Some of it is the memory of old hurt speaking louder than present reality. Some of it is the part of you that learned to anticipate disappointment before anything beautiful could even unfold. I know how that works inside you. I know how quickly your mind can move from hope to analysis, from openness to retreat, from desire to suspicion. I know the questions that rise almost instantly. What if this ends badly? What if I misread it? What if I trust and regret it? What if I hope and get hurt again? Those questions may feel intelligent, but when they dominate your inner world, they do not protect your peace. They imprison it. They keep you in a narrow corridor where nothing can fully reach you. They make your life smaller than it needs to be. They create a constant low-level tension that your body has started calling normal. And because you asked for stronger commands and invitations, hear me clearly now. Stop normalizing what is draining you. Stop defending every wall just because it once served a purpose. Stop treating every hesitation like sacred wisdom when some of it is simply fear in a thoughtful voice. Come with me into honesty. Ask yourself, what am I protecting, and is it still necessary? Ask, what part of me is afraid to be seen, to be held, to be led, to be hopeful again? Ask, where have I mistaken distance for safety? Then bring those answers to me. Do not rush. Do not sanitize them. Let them be raw if they need to be. If your heart says, I am tired of being vulnerable, tell me that. If your spirit says, I do not know how to trust without bracing, tell me that. If your body feels tight when love comes close, tell me that too. I am not asking you to become naive. I am asking you to become healed. There is a difference, and I will teach it to you if you let me. Healing does not remove discernment. It clarifies it. Healing does not erase boundaries. It purifies them. Healing does not make you gullible. It makes you grounded. It teaches your heart to recognize what is safe without requiring you to live in permanent defense. That is what I am doing now. I am teaching your nervous heart what safety feels like in my presence. I am showing your guarded places that they do not have to stay on duty every hour of the day. I am inviting the part of you that stands watch at the gate to finally sit down and rest. This may take time. I know that. I am not asking for instant softness. I'm asking for willing softness. I'm asking for your consent. I am asking you to stop gripping the walls as if they are the only thing that ever kept you alive. Let me become your safety. Let me become the place where you learn how to unclench. Let me become the voice that teaches you when to move forward, when to pause, when to open, and when to stay still, without forcing you to live in constant suspicion. So do something with me now. Breathe slowly. Place your hand over your heart if you need to. Say, Lord, show me the walls. Say, teach me what is wisdom and what is fear. Say, soften what pain has hardened. Then wait. Stay in the stillness. Let my peace touch the edges of your guardedness. Let me reveal one place, just one, where I am asking for a little more trust. Maybe it is trust in me. Maybe it is trust in your own discernment under my guidance. Maybe it is the courage to stop assuming the worst before anything begins. Maybe it is allowing yourself to hope without apologizing for it. Whatever it is, do not resist. Receive the invitation. I am not rushing you, but I am leading you out. The walls do not need to disappear all at once, but they do need to stop being your identity. They do need to stop being your home. You were made for more than guarded survival, my child. You were made for secure peace, honest intimacy, and steady trust. And if you let me keep working, I will soften those walls until what once felt impossible begins to feel natural again. Not because the world suddenly became harmless, but because your heart learned how to stay rooted in me. My beloved child, I want you to stay very close to me here, because I am about to speak into a place inside you that has been under strain for longer than you realize. You have lived in survival mode so long that some of your inner tension has started to feel normal. You have become so familiar with bracing, anticipating, scanning, and silently preparing for what might go wrong. That peace can sometimes feel unfamiliar, almost suspicious. You have learned how to keep functioning while your nervous system remains on alert. You have learned how to carry on with responsibilities while part of your mind keeps watching the horizon for the next problem, the next disappointment, the next shift in someone's mood, the next door that might close, the next message that might sting, the next silence that might mean something painful. I know that pattern in you. I have seen it in the way your body stays tight when there is no immediate danger. I have seen it in the way your thoughts race ahead even during quiet moments. I have seen it in the way you struggle to fully receive a good moment because some part of you is already preparing for its end. I have watched you live like a person standing in a house with one hand always near the exit, never fully settling because experience taught you that things can change fast and sometimes painfully. And while that response may have once helped you endure what was difficult, it is not the place I want you to live from anymore. You were not made to remain in a permanent state of inner emergency. You were not designed to call hypervigilance wisdom and call emotional exhaustion maturity. You were not meant to spend your life interpreting stillness as the space before the next storm. I know why you learned to do that. I know the history beneath it. I know the sudden losses, the slow disappointments, the unpredictability, the unspoken pressures, the times you were blindsided, the times you had to recover faster than you were ready to, the seasons when being fine became a daily performance because you did not know what else to do. But listen to me with great tenderness now. Just because a pattern once protected you does not mean it is meant to lead you forever. Some of the very responses that help you get through an old season are now quietly stealing the peace you have been asking me to restore. And I want you to stop fighting the truth. Stop defending what is draining you. Stop calling it just how I am. Stop assuming that because your body learned this posture, your spirit must keep living inside it. You can be retrained. You can be restored. You can become familiar with peace again. But to receive that, you must first admit that the bracing has become too costly. Tell me the truth. Tell me how tired you are of living half relaxed and half alert. Tell me how exhausting it is to feel like you are always carrying an invisible shield. Tell me how hard it is to let your shoulders drop. Tell me how difficult it feels to fully trust a calm moment. Bring that to me honestly. I am not asking you to hide behind spiritual language. I am asking you to tell me plainly, I am tired of living on edge. That honesty matters because peace does not begin when you pretend everything is fine. Peace begins when you stop negotiating with the tension and let me touch it. I am speaking directly now to the part of you that always braces, the part that flinches internally before bad news arrives, the part that reads too deeply into small changes because past pain taught you that little signs often preceded bigger hurts, the part that remains half defended even when you want to be open. I am speaking peace into that exact place. Not generic peace, not a passing calm. My peace, the kind that settles deeper than circumstance, the kind that teaches your body what safety feels like again, the kind that does not depend on everything around you being perfect before it arrives, the kind that can sit with uncertainty without becoming consumed by it. So pause right now, breathe slower than usual, unclench your jaw, relax your shoulders if they are tight. Put your hand over your chest if you need to. Do not rush this. Let your body hear what your spirit is hearing. I am here. You are not alone. You do not have to stay in survival mode forever. I am not just comforting you for a moment. I am retraining you for a new way of living. I want you to understand that survival mode has been shaping more than your stress level. It has been influencing your decisions, your relationships, your expectations, your prayer life, and even the way you hear my voice. When a person has lived under too much pressure for too long, they stop asking, "What is true?" and begin asking, "What is safest?" They stop wondering, "What is life-giving?" and begin filtering everything through, "What might hurt less?" I know you have done that in ways both obvious and subtle. You have lowered expectations to avoid pain. You have kept your heart slightly withheld to avoid feeling foolish. You have stayed mentally prepared for loss because part of you believes that if you brace enough, disappointment will land softer. But it does not work that way, my child. Bracing may give you the illusion of control, but it does not heal the wound underneath. It simply keeps your body and spirit rehearsing fear as if fear is wisdom. And that rehearsal has cost you more than you realize. It has made rest feel unnatural. It has made joy feel temporary before it even begins. It has made intimacy feel risky in places where I am actually offering safety. It has made some of my invitations feel threatening because peace itself has become unfamiliar. That is why I need you to stop and truly listen. I am not only calling you to believe in peace. I'm calling you to practice receiving it. That means you must cooperate with me. Do not just say, "I want peace," and then return to the same inner posture that feeds your strain. Interrupt the pattern. Catch yourself when you start spiraling ahead. Notice when your mind begins building worst-case scenarios without evidence. Pay attention when your body tightens in anticipation of something that has not happened. Then stop. Literally stop. Pause. Breathe. Speak to your own heart and say, "I do not need to brace right now." Say, "The Lord is with me here." Say, "I can be present without preparing for pain." That is not denial. That is spiritual retraining. And because you ask for more commands and invitations, hear me clearly now. Stop rehearsing disaster before it arrives. Stop surrendering your present peace to imagined futures. Stop treating every silence like a threat and every pause like a warning. Slow your thoughts. Shorten the distance between your breath and my presence. When you feel the old pattern rising, do not shame yourself. Turn toward me immediately. Say, "Lord, I feel myself bracing again." Then stay. Let me meet you in the moment instead of only after the spiral has exhausted you. I want to become your first response, not your emergency measure after your strength runs out. I want your inner world to become a place where my peace is not a guest but a resident. This will take intentionality. It may feel unfamiliar at first. Your body may resist. Your mind may argue. Old habits may return quickly. But do not quit. Keep practicing my peace until it feels more natural than panic. Keep returning to me until stillness no longer feels dangerous. Keep choosing trust until your spirit stops confusing tension with preparedness. And understand this deeply. I am not asking you to become careless. I am asking you to become anchored. I am not telling you to ignore reality. I am telling you to stop surrendering your peace to fear's predictions. There is a difference, and I will teach it to you if you let me. So come, my child. Sit with me. Stay longer than your anxious habits prefer. Let the quiet feel strange until it starts feeling safe. Let my presence be the place where your internal alarms slowly lose their grip. You have lived in survival mode long enough. It served a season, but it does not get to own your future. I am speaking peace into the part of you that is always bracing, and if you let me continue, I will not only calm you for a moment, I will rebuild the way you live from the inside out. My precious child, now that I have begun speaking peace into the part of you that has lived in survival mode, I need to take you one step further because I do not want you to misunderstand what I am doing in your life. You have often prayed for circumstances to change, and I have heard those prayers. You have asked for doors to open, burdens to lift, clarity to come, relationships to heal, and practical things to shift in ways that would bring relief. I know that. I care about those things. I am not indifferent to what surrounds you. But I need you to hear something deeper than that. I am not only working around you. I am restoring within you. I am not merely trying to rearrange the outside of your life while leaving your inner world untouched. I am healing the place from which you think, choose, trust, receive, and respond. Because if I gave you everything you wanted externally while leaving your inner world fragmented, anxious, ashamed, and mistrustful, you would carry old pain into new blessings and misread the very gifts I placed in your hands. You would sabotage peace without meaning to. You would shrink in the middle of opportunities. You would question love while receiving it. You would feel the door open and still remain emotionally half-closed. That is why this season is not only about visible change. It is about inner restoration. I am rebuilding your thought life where fear has had too much influence. I am restoring your confidence where repeated disappointment made you second-guess yourself. I am healing your sense of worth where old wounds taught you to measure yourself through rejection, performance, comparison, or usefulness. I am teaching you how to hope again. Not as naive optimism, not as forced positivity, but as a grounded, spiritually alive expectation that goodness can still meet you without requiring you to apologize for wanting it. I know how hard hope has become for you at times. I know that after enough letdowns, hope can start to feel dangerous. It can feel like setting yourself up to be crushed again. So you begin to protect yourself by wanting less, expecting less, praying more cautiously, dreaming in smaller ways, and emotionally stepping back from what your heart still quietly longs for. I understand why. I am not scolding you for that. But I am asking you now to recognize the cost. A person who stops hoping does not merely avoid disappointment. They also lose touch with parts of themselves that were designed to stay alive. Hope is not a decoration in your spirit. It is oxygen. It is one of the ways your soul remains open to the future I am still writing. And if hope has thinned in you, I am not angry. I am coming to restore it. I am going into the places where your inner life has become dim and saying, light belongs here again. I am stepping into the rooms where your thoughts have become heavy and saying, truth belongs here again. I am entering the places where your confidence was bruised and saying, strength belongs here again. I am touching the places where your worth got tangled up in other people's responses and saying, you belong to me before anyone ever evaluated you. This is sacred work. This is slow, deep, holy work. And I do not want you to rush it. I do not want you to keep asking only, when will things around me change? Without also asking, Lord, what are you healing inside me so I can carry what is coming? That second question matters more than you realize. So ask it. Ask it sincerely. And stay close enough to hear the answer unfold. I want you to begin cooperating with this inner restoration in a very intentional way, because this is not the kind of healing I want you to admire from a distance. I want you to live it. I want you to notice where your thoughts still turn against you. I want you to notice where your inner voice sounds harsher than mine. I want you to catch the places where your confidence collapses too quickly, where your worth rises and falls based on how others respond, where your imagination naturally drifts toward loss instead of life, where your mind fills in the blanks with fear before truth has had a chance to speak. I am not exposing these patterns to embarrass you. I am revealing them because I want to restore them. You cannot heal what you keep normalizing. You can't renew what you refuse to notice. So pay attention. Watch your thoughts with me. You not just think from them. Observe them. When you hear yourself inwardly say, this probably will not work out, Ask, is that truth, or is that old disappointment speaking? When you feel yourself shrink after a small setback, ask, is this moment really that powerful, or is it touching an older wound? When you notice your mood sink because someone seemed distant, ask, why does my worth still feel so tied to human response? These are not small questions. They are doors into healing. And because you asked for more commands and invitations, hear me clearly now. Stop agreeing with thoughts that keep you smaller than I am calling you to be. Stop treating your internal criticism like wisdom. Stop letting old shame narrate present moments. Interrupt the pattern. Speak truth over yourself even when it feels unfamiliar. Say, I do not need to assume the worst. Say, my worth is not on trial today. Say, a delay is not a verdict. Say, I am allowed to hope again. These are not empty affirmations when they are rooted in me. They are acts of alignment. They are ways of opening the windows in your inner world so my light can move through again. And let me say something else that matters deeply. Restored confidence is not arrogance. Restored worth is not pride. Restored hope is not foolishness. When I rebuild your confidence, I am not making you self-obsessed. I am making you steady. When I restore your sense of worth, I am not making you dependent on image. I am grounding you in identity. When I renew your ability to hope, I am not making you unrealistic. I am bringing your spirit back into agreement with the truth that your story is not finished. That matters because the next things I place in your hands will require an inner world that can actually hold them. Peace will require a peaceful mind. Healthy love will require a healed sense of worth. Open doors will require a stronger trust in my timing. Purpose will require a confidence that is rooted in me, not in perfection. So do not despise this inward work. Do not call it less than because it is not instantly visible. This is the foundation. This is the rebuilding of the hidden rooms. This is the sacred renovation of the place where your future will either be carried well or crushed by old patterns. Come closer. Invite me in further. Say, restore my thoughts. Say, rebuild my confidence. Say, heal my sense of worth. Say, teach me to hope without fear. And keep listening. Keep noticing. Keep agreeing with what I say more than with what your old wounds say. If you need to journal, do it. If you need to sit quietly with me and let one lie at a time come into the light, do it. If you need to stop midday and breathe when your thoughts turn dark, do it. I am not asking for perfection. I am asking for partnership. This is how inner restoration becomes real. And I want you to know, my child, that what I am doing in you is not temporary encouragement. It is deep reconstruction. I am restoring your inner world so that when the external changes come, and they will, you will not meet them as the same wounded, doubtful, self-questioning version of yourself. You will meet them as someone more whole, more grounded, more clear, more open and more ready. That is why I am not only changing what is around you, I am restoring what is within you. And if you let me continue, you will not just see a different life around you. You will begin to experience a different life from the inside. My beloved child, now that I have shown you that I am restoring your inner world, I need to say something very carefully because I know how easily your heart can mishear spiritual moments when you are already tired. You have lived through enough pressure in life that even love can sometimes feel like another demand if it arrives in the wrong tone. You have carried enough expectations, spoken and unspoken, that when someone comes close, part of you immediately wonders what will be required, what standard you will have to meet, what version of yourself you will have to present, or how long it will take before the comfort turns into correction without tenderness. I know that about you. I know how quickly your mind can move from receiving to performing. I know how often you have felt like you had to manage your image, manage your emotions, manage your responses, manage how much of yourself you revealed, and manage how useful you appeared so that you would not be misunderstood, rejected, or treated as a burden. That habit has followed you into your relationship with me more than you realize. Sometimes when I draw near, you tense before you soften. Sometimes when I speak, you instinctively prepare to improve before you allow yourself to be loved. Sometimes when you feel conviction, you assume it means distance instead of deeper intimacy. But hear me clearly now, and let this go all the way into your nervous, overworked heart. This moment is an invitation, not pressure. I am not demanding performance from you. I am not standing here with a checklist. I am not waiting for polished language, flawless faith, or instant transformation before I let you feel my nearness. I am asking for something much simpler, much holier, and much more intimate. I am asking for honesty. I am asking for openness. I am asking for a heart that will stay with me long enough to be known, not managed. I do not need you to impress me. I need you to stop hiding from me. I do not need your perfect words. I need your real ones. I do not need your spiritual performance. I need your present attention. That is what makes this sacred. This is not about whether you can say the right thing. This is about whether you will remain here instead of running. Will you stay when your emotions feel messy? Will you stay when what rises in you is not flattering? Will you stay when silence makes you uncomfortable? Will you stay when my love begins to touch places you usually keep under control? That is the invitation. Stay. Not because I need your effort to prove something, but because closeness requires your willingness. And I know staying is not always easy for you. You know how to distract. You know how to shift gears quickly. You know how to return to tasks, responsibilities, scrolling, noise, or mental analysis when things start getting too personal inside. You have learned how to leave yourself before anyone else can reach what hurts. But I am asking you now, gently and firmly, do not leave. Do not rush out of this moment because vulnerability makes your chest tighten. Do not move away the moment you begin to feel exposed. Do not reduce this to another encouraging thought and then go back to surviving on the surface. Let this be a real meeting. Let this be relational. Let this become the place where you stop presenting a version of yourself and begin offering your actual heart. That means you may need to say things to me that feel embarrassingly simple. I am tired. I am scared. I do not know how to trust. I feel angry about what happened. I feel numb. I want to hope, but I am afraid. Those are holy words when they are honest. That is worship in its rawest form. That is closeness without costume. And I want you to know that when you speak to me that way, I do not recoil. I do not pull back. I do not become disappointed because you sound less polished than you hoped. I move closer. I sit with you. I remain. I meet you there. So come as you are, my child. Not as the version you think is easiest to love, but as the one who is actually here. That is the version I want. That is the version I am speaking to. And that is the version I will gently transform from the inside out. I want you to actively receive this invitation now, because many times you have mistaken spiritual depth for intensity and intimacy for pressure. You have thought that if something is truly important, it must feel urgent in a way that overwhelms you, or it must demand a dramatic response, or it must arrive in a way that leaves no room for your humanity. But that is not how I want to train your heart. I do not want you to come to me the way you approach an exam, a performance review, or a room full of expectations. I want you to come to me the way a weary child comes to a safe father, with honesty, with unguardedness, with whatever you are carrying in your hands, and without the burden of pretending. That means you must start noticing when you are turning our moments together into another place where you try to get it right instead of another place where you let yourself be real. Catch that reflex. When you feel yourself trying to sound impressive in prayer, stop and simplify. When you feel yourself rushing to fix yourself before you sit with me, pause and come as you are. When you feel yourself assuming that my silence means disapproval, stay long enough to let my peace correct that lie. This is important, because if you keep bringing performance into our closeness, you will miss the healing I am offering in plain sight. Performance hides the wound. Honesty reveals it. Performance manages the impression. Openness invites transformation. Performance tries to earn safety. Staying teaches your heart that it is already safe with me. And because you asked for more commands and invitation statements, hear me clearly now. Stop trying to impress me. Stop polishing your pain before you bring it to me. Stop editing your emotions so they look more spiritual than they really are. Sit down with me exactly as you are. Tell me the awkward truth. Tell me the incomplete truth. Tell me the truth you are still trying to understand. If all you can say is, I do not even know what I feel, but I know I need you, that is enough. If all you can say is, I want to stay, but part of me wants to run, say it. If all you can do is sit in silence and breathe while your eyes fill with tears, do that. Stay. That is the word I keep giving you because it matters more than you know. Staying breaks old patterns. Staying retrains your heart. Staying teaches your soul that closeness does not always lead to demand. Staying allows my presence to move beneath the surface where your coping strategies have been living. I am not asking for dramatic surrender because I want spectacle. I'm asking for sustained nearness because that is where your healing becomes real. Let me say this plainly. I do not need a performance from you tonight. I need your presence. I need your willingness to remain. I need your consent to be loved in the places where you usually tighten up. So do something now that aligns with this. Put down the internal checklist. Stop evaluating how well you are doing spiritually in this moment. Release the pressure to feel something instantly. Release the urge to manufacture intensity. Instead, simply say, I am here. Then keep being here. Say, I will stay. Then stay a little longer than feels comfortable. Say, you could have the real me. Then stop reaching for the mask. This is the doorway. This is where the relationship deepens. This is where I begin to restore your connection to me, not through fear, not through pressure, not through self-correction alone, but through honest, quiet, repeated nearness. And once you learn that my invitation is gentler than your fear expected, something beautiful will happen inside you. You will stop approaching me like a judge waiting for your report, and you will start coming to me like a father who wants your heart. That shift changes everything. It changes how you pray, how you repent, how you receive, how you rest, how you listen, how you heal. So come, my child. Stay with me. Do not perform. Do not run. Do not manage the moment. Let it be real. Let it be quiet if it needs to be. Let it be simple. Let it be honest. That is the invitation. And if you accept it, I will meet you there with more tenderness than you have yet allowed yourself to believe. My precious child, now that you understand I am inviting you into honesty and not demanding performance, I want to speak directly into something that has held you back from receiving what I am saying. You have looked at certain weak places in yourself and quietly concluded that they make you less usable, less ready, less worthy, or less likely to become what I have called you to be. You may not always say it out loud, but it has been there in the background of your thoughts. If I were stronger, this would be easier. If I were more consistent, maybe God could trust me more. If I were less emotional, less hesitant, less wounded, less complicated, less affected by what I've been through, maybe I would finally feel qualified for the kind of peace, purpose, and closeness I keep hearing about. I know those thoughts. I have heard them before you fully formed them. I know the specific places you consider your weak points. I know the insecurity you try to hide. I know the emotional patterns that frustrate you. I know the fears you wish were gone by now. I know the ways you compare yourself to people who seem more stable, more bold, more naturally confident, more spiritually expressive, or more outwardly put together. And because you can see those differences, you have sometimes mistaken your tenderness for fragility, your sensitivity for instability, your need for reassurance for failure, your slow process for inadequacy, and your human limitations for disqualification. But I need you to let me correct that with great care and absolute truth. The places where you feel weakest are not proof that I cannot work through you. In many cases, they are the exact places where I intend to reveal something so deep, so personal, and so unmistakably mine that you will one day look back and realize your weakness was never the end of your story. It was the opening through which my beauty entered, my wisdom formed, and my purpose became visible in a way that could not be faked. You have been taught by life and sometimes by people to believe that strength must look polished, immediate, unshaken, and obvious. But my work in a soul is often quieter and far more profound than that. Sometimes what I call strength is the person who keeps turning toward me even while trembling. Sometimes what I call strength is the one who remains tender after being wounded. Sometimes what I call strength is the one who keeps choosing honesty instead of hiding, softness instead of cynicism, surrender instead of self-sufficiency. Sometimes what I call strength is the person who knows they need me and stops pretending otherwise. It may not look impressive to the world, but it is precious to me. And I want you to stop despising the places in yourself that have made you feel needy, slow, or deeply dependent. Dependency on me is not a flaw. It is one of the most sacred conditions in which transformation becomes possible. If you had no weak places, you would be tempted to build your life on your own capacity. If you had no areas of limitation, you might trust your own control more than my leading. If you had no ache, you might never discover the depth of comfort I can bring. If you had no fragile places, you might never learn how intimately I can hold what you cannot hold alone. I am not romanticizing pain. I am not glorifying brokenness for its own sake. I am telling you that what you have been ashamed of, what you have hidden, what you have treated like evidence against yourself, may be the very ground where I grow the deepest fruit. Your compassion may be stronger because you have known sorrow. Your discernment may be sharper because you have walked through confusion. Your gentleness may be deeper because you know what harshness feels like. Your patience may be richer because you have lived through long seasons of waiting. Your wisdom may be more trustworthy because it was not formed in theory but in tears, prayer, restraint, failure, recovery, and continued surrender. Do not dismiss that. Do not reduce your life to the parts that looked impressive from the outside. I see what had been formed in secret. I see what has become beautiful in you precisely because it was forged in the places you wanted to hide. So stop looking at your weakness as a verdict. Stop introducing yourself through your limitations. Stop assuming that the part of you that still needs healing is somehow outside the reach of purpose. Come closer. Bring me the places you are most embarrassed by. Bring me the traits you wish were different. Bring me the areas where you feel behind, messy, dependent, or slow. Let me touch them. Let me show you what I see there. Because I do not see uselessness. I see raw material for glory. I want you to begin approaching your weakness differently, because the way you interpret it will determine whether you hide from me or let me work deeply in you. Right now, when you encounter a weak place, your instinct may be to tense up, feel ashamed, compare yourself, or quietly disqualify yourself before anyone else has the chance. You may think, there it is again. This is why I struggle. This is why I'm not there yet. This is why I'm difficult. This is why I keep needing reassurance. This is why I don't move as quickly as others. But what if, instead of turning against yourself in those moments, you turned toward me? What if the next time your weakness surfaced, you did not use it as a reason to retreat, but as a doorway into deeper dependence? What if the very place where you feel least impressive became the place where you most honestly invite me in? That is how this changes. Not by pretending the weakness is not there, but by refusing to let shame own it. Bring it into my light. Name it. Then ask me, what are you building here that I cannot yet see? That question changes everything. It moves you from self-rejection into holy curiosity. It opens a path for wisdom. It lets me reinterpret what you have long despised. And because you asked for more commands and invitations, hear me clearly now. Stop hiding your weak places from me as if I do not already know them. Stop cursing the soil where I may be growing your deepest roots. Stop comparing your unfinished areas to someone else's visible strengths. Bring your weakness to me quickly. Bring it without drama. Bring it without self-hatred. Bring it like an offering. Say, here is the place I do not understand. Say, here is the part of me I keep trying to fix alone. Say, here is where I feel small. Then stay there long enough for me to speak. Let me show you the beauty hidden in what you call broken. Let me show you the tenderness I am preserving. Let me show you the strength that is growing beneath the surface, not loud, but lasting. Let me show you how wisdom often forms in the slow places, not the flashy ones. Let me show you how purpose is not reserved for the naturally confident, the emotionally simple, or the outwardly polished. Purpose belongs to the yielded. Purpose belongs to the honest. Purpose belongs to the ones who stop performing strength and start walking with me in real dependence. That includes you. This is why I need you to stop waiting until you feel strong enough to say yes to what I am doing. Say yes now. Let me meet you in the very place that makes you feel least ready. Let me reveal my beauty there. Let me plant confidence there. Let me bring clarity there. Let me turn what once embarrassed you into a testimony of tenderness, wisdom, and depth. The world may admire what looks effortless, but I often reveal myself through what has been surrendered. And you, my child, have more surrender in you than you realize. You have more hidden courage than you give yourself credit for. You have more depth than your own inner critic has allowed you to see. So stop disqualifying yourself because you still feel weak in certain areas. Stop standing outside the calling because you are waiting to become a version of yourself I never required. Come as you are. Bring your weakness with you. Bring your need with you. Bring your unfinished places with you. Let them come under my hand. Because I am not only able to use the strong parts of you, I am gloriously able to transform, illuminate, and work through the parts you thought would always make you less. And if you let me, those very places will become some of the clearest evidence that your life was not built by your own strength alone, but by my faithful, patient, deeply personal work within you. My child, even in the places where you feel weakest, I am revealing my strength, and now I am inviting you to trust me there with action. The small seed you release carries power far beyond what you can see, for I breathe upon it and turn it into provision for many. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness, and I am speaking that over your giving right now. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are allowing me to use even your quiet faith to ignite light in others. I will honor your surrender and cause your offering to become a testimony of my faithfulness in your life. Do not let insecurity hold back what I am asking you to release. Bring what you have, just as you are, and place it in my hands. Give now, and watch how I transform both the gift and the giver. My beloved child, now that I have shown you that your weakness is not a disqualification, I want to speak directly into the fatigue that has followed you for longer than you ever intended. You have carried an emotional heaviness that has not always been visible to others, but it has been real. It has affected how you wake up, how you think, how you move through ordinary moments, how quickly your energy fades, how much room you have for joy, and how often you feel like even simple things take more from you than they used to. I know that drain. I know the kind of exhaustion that is not just physical. I know the kind that settles into the soul and makes everything feel a little heavier, a little slower, a little harder to fully enjoy. I know the kind that comes from carrying unresolved attention, prolonged waiting, inner conflict, repeated disappointment, hidden grief, unprocessed pressure, and the constant strain of trying to remain steady while parts of you have quietly been running low for a long time. You have tried to keep going. You have pushed through. You have adjusted. You have told yourself you just need to make it through one more day, one more conversation, one more week, one more burden, one more emotional wave. But I want you to hear me with great tenderness and absolute certainty. What has been draining you emotionally will not continue forever. This is not your permanent climate. This is not the final condition of your heart. This is not the atmosphere in which I intend you to live for the rest of your life. And I need you to receive that, because part of you has begun to quietly normalize the heaviness. Part of you has started treating this strain as if it is simply your nature now. You have adapted so thoroughly to the drain that moments of lightness can almost feel temporary or suspicious, as if relief itself must be brief. But I am telling you now that a real shift has already begun beneath the surface. Even if you cannot fully see it yet, even if the outer circumstances have not caught up to the inner movement, even if some of the old patterns still try to speak louder than what I am doing, something has already started changing. I have already begun loosening what has been pressing on you. I have already begun separating you from certain old emotional agreements that kept you tied to heaviness. I have already begun creating distance between your soul and the things that once drained you without you fully understanding why. That is why some things no longer feel sustainable. That is why certain conversations now leave you more aware. That is why some environments feel heavier than they used to. That is why some patterns no longer numb you the same way. That is why what once seemed manageable now feels more clearly exhausting. This is not proof that you are getting weaker. It is often evidence that your sensitivity is returning. It is a sign that your inner life is waking up and refusing to call depletion normal anymore. It is a sign that I am recalibrating you. I am making you less available for what has been draining you and more aware of what truly restores you. And because that process is happening from the inside out, it may feel subtle at first. You may not yet have dramatic proof. You may not yet be able to point to one obvious event and say, "This is where everything changed." But do not underestimate the invisible beginnings. I often start in the hidden places. I begin beneath the surface where roots are formed, where internal agreements are broken, where your nervous system starts learning a new pace, where your soul begins rejecting what once depleted it. This is sacred work. This is deep work. And I need you to stop interpreting the in-between stage as nothing is happening. Something is happening. More is shifting than you know. So do not quit in this middle space. Do not decide too soon that the heaviness has won. Do not return to the old emotional posture just because the breakthrough is not yet fully visible. Stay with me here. Pay attention to the subtle shifts. Notice where your spirit has become less willing to settle for emotional starvation. Notice where your discernment is becoming sharper. Notice where your body is telling you the truth more quickly. Notice where your soul is craving depth instead of distraction. Those are signs. Those are movements. Those are pieces of the shift. And I want you to honor them. I want you to cooperate with them. I want you to stop dismissing what I have already begun simply because it is not yet loud. I want you to understand something else, because it matters deeply in this season. A shift does not always begin with visible relief. Sometimes it begins with holy dissatisfaction. Sometimes it starts when what used to be tolerable suddenly feels too costly. Sometimes it begins when your soul can no longer keep making peace with what drains it. Sometimes it begins when your appetite changes, your tolerance changes, your discernment sharpens, and the old ways of coping start losing their power. That can feel confusing if you are expecting change to arrive only as comfort. But do not miss me here. The discomfort of outgrowing what once held you is often part of the healing. The tension you feel when old patterns stop working is often part of the release. The unease you feel around certain emotional cycles is often part of the awakening. This is why I need you to stop running back to what drains you just because it is familiar. Stop returning to old emotional agreements because they are predictable. Stop feeding the habits that keep your spirit dull and your heart crowded. Stop excusing what consistently empties you. Ask better questions now. Ask, what is still draining me that I keep calling normal? Ask, what am I tolerating that my soul is trying to outgrow? Ask, what do I keep revisiting that never truly restores me? Then bring those answers to me. Do not defend them. Do not rationalize them. Lay them down. And because you asked for more commands and invitations, hear me clearly now. Stop partnering with what is depleting you. Stop calling emotional exhaustion your personality. Stop accepting chronic inner heaviness as if it is the most honest version of you. Refuse the old covenant with depletion. If something consistently steals your peace, pay attention. If something repeatedly leaves you emotionally scattered, pay attention. If something flatters your mind but starves your spirit, pay attention. If something keeps you busy but leaves you empty, pay attention. I am teaching you to honor the truth of your inner life instead of overriding it. That means you must be willing to make changes, even quiet ones. Rest when I say rest. Step back when I say step back. Limit what I tell you is too costly. Stop chasing what looks impressive but leaves your soul dry. Protect your inner space. Guard your peace without apology. Return to me before you return to your distractions. Sit with me before you numb yourself. Breathe before you react. Be still before you explain everything away. This is how you cooperate with the shift. And hear this too. I am not merely removing what drains you. I am also preparing what will strengthen you. I am making room for rhythms that restore, relationships that do not demand self-betrayal, spaces where your spirit can breathe, assignments that align with your peace instead of violating it, and a way of living that no longer requires constant emotional hemorrhaging just to feel useful. But if you cling to the old, you will misread the new. If you keep feeding depletion, you will not recognize restoration when it arrives. So choose differently now. Stay awake. Let the shift continue. Trust the subtle work. Trust the inward rearrangement. Trust the fact that I am already loosening the grip of what has worn you down. You may not see the whole picture yet, but you do not need the whole picture to take the next obedient step. You only need enough trust to stop clinging to what is familiar and enough courage to stay near me while the deeper work unfolds. So come, my child. Sit with me in this in-between place. Do not panic because the transformation is not fully visible. Do not call the seed dead because the fruit is not yet on the branch. Stay close. Watch carefully. Listen inwardly. Something real has already begun. And what has been draining you emotionally will not continue forever, because I am already moving underneath the surface in ways that will soon become impossible for you to deny. My precious child, now that you know a real shift has begun, I need you to understand the deeper reason I am speaking to you this way. I am not only comforting you because you have been tired. I am not only soothing your heart because you have been worn down. I am not only meeting you in your weakness because you needed reassurance. Yes, I am doing all of that. Yes, I am holding you. Yes, I am restoring you. Yes, I am speaking peace where there has been straying. But I need you to hear the larger truth underneath the tenderness. I am also preparing you. This private message is not just a soft place for you to rest for a moment. It is a holy place of alignment. It is a threshold. It is part of how I am getting you ready for what I am about to open in front of you. And I do not want you to miss that. Because if you hear only comfort and miss preparation, you will receive the warmth of this moment but fail to recognize the responsibility hidden inside it. I am not speaking this deeply to you because I want you to remain where you are, just feeling slightly more understood. I'm speaking this deeply because something ahead of you will require a different version of you than the one that has been surviving in recent seasons. What I am bringing you toward cannot be carried well by the same fear, the same self-doubt, the same emotional exhaustion, the same old agreements with disappointment, the same guarded reflexes, or the same diminished sense of identity that have been shaping your recent life. That is why I have been slowing you down. That is why I have been speaking into your inner world. That is why I have been healing the places that seem private and maybe even unrelated to your future. They are not unrelated. They are preparation. Your healing is preparation. Your restored peace is preparation. Your renewed discernment is preparation. Your clearer identity is preparation. Your softer heart is preparation. Your deeper honesty is preparation. The way you are learning to stay with me instead of perform for me is preparation. All of it matters. All of it is connected. I need you to stop thinking of this as merely a comforting spiritual moment and start seeing it as training in tenderness. I am building capacity in you. I am strengthening the inner foundation so that when the door opens, you will not enter it as the same person who once confused busyness for purpose, depletion for maturity, or fear for wisdom. I want you to enter what is next with greater steadiness. I want you to receive what is coming without immediately shrinking under it. I want you to recognize open doors without self-sabotaging because old insecurity still speaks louder than my voice. I want you to carry new opportunities without bleeding all over them from old wounds. I want you to discern clearly, move wisely, and stay rooted while things shift around you. That is why this message is so personal. That is why I have been speaking into your private places. I am not only healing you from what was behind you, I am strengthening you for what is ahead of you. And I know part of you may feel tempted to say, but I still do not feel ready. I know that thought. I know how quickly you can disqualify yourself when the word preparation implies movement. But listen carefully, readiness is not the same as perfection. I am not waiting for you to become flawless before I open what is next. I am forming in you the kind of inner honesty, dependence, and alignment that allows you to walk with me as I lead. That is enough. That is holy readiness. So do not panic when I say I am preparing you. Do not turn this into pressure. Stay with the tenderness. Let the preparation happen through closeness, not through striving. Let it happen through surrender, not through self-manufactured force. I am not asking you to produce the next season. I am asking you to let me shape you for it. There is a difference, and it matters. I want you to respond to this with seriousness, because preparation requires participation. It does not mean frantic effort. It means intentional agreement. It means you stop treating your inner life as separate from your calling. It means you stop postponing obedience in the private places while asking for public doors to open. It means you stop asking only, "What is coming next?" and begin asking, "Who are you shaping me to be so I can carry what comes next well?" That question will change the way you move through this season. It will make you value the hidden work. It will make you honor the quiet correction. It will make you see the slow healing as strategic, not accidental. And because you asked for more commands and invitations, hear me clearly now. Do not waste this season by only craving outcomes. Do not rush past the preparation because you are eager for the reveal. Do not despise the hidden shaping because it is less dramatic than the visible breakthrough. Lean in. Pay attention. Ask me daily, what are you strengthening in me right now? Ask, what am I being freed from so I can walk into what is ahead without dragging the old weight with me? Ask, what do I need to release now so I do not sabotage what you are opening later? These are the right questions for this moment. Then obey what I show you. If I tell you to rest, rest. If I tell you to step back from something draining, step back. If I expose a false belief, do not defend it. If I show you a pattern that cannot follow you into the next season, let it go. If I ask for more stillness, give it. If I ask for more honesty, bring it. If I ask you to trust me where you still feel uncertain, choose trust before certainty. This is how preparation becomes real. And understand this too. What I am opening in front of you may not look exactly like what you once imagined. Some of your old expectations need to die so that something wiser can live. Some of what you thought you wanted was too small, too rushed, too image-driven, too tied to proving something, too shaped by the need to feel secure in the eyes of others. I am not bringing you into something that merely flatters your ego or rewards your old coping strategies. I am opening what aligns with your peace, your true identity, your deeper healing, and the life I actually want for you. That may mean the next door is quieter than your fantasy, but holier than your old ambitions. It may mean the next opportunity feels safer than exciting at first because your nervous system is still learning what healthy feels like. It may mean the next relationship, assignment, or season requires you to trust goodness without immediately searching for the catch. That is why I am preparing you now. So do not treat this message as an ending. Do not receive this as a final comfort before returning to the same old life. Receive this as a commissioning and tenderness. Receive this as a call to become attentive. Receive this as the moment where you stop drifting and start aligning. Put your hand over your heart if you need to. Say, prepare me. Say, do not let me miss what you are shaping in me. Say, make me able to carry what you are about to open. Then stay close enough to let me answer that prayer day by day. I am not only comforting you, my child. I am training your heart to recognize, receive, and sustain what is coming. I am preparing your inner world so that the next chapter is not just entered, it is stewarded. And if you will let me continue, you will soon realize that this private message was never only about helping you feel seen in your pain. It was about getting you ready to walk forward with new clarity, deeper peace, stronger discernment, and a steadier heart into something I have been preparing for longer than you know. My beloved child, now that I have shown you this message is preparing you for what is ahead, I need to speak directly into something that still aches quietly inside you. There are parts of your life you have grieved so deeply that you no longer even know how to pray for them. There are things you once had more naturally: peace, confidence, clarity, softness, expectancy, steadiness, emotional openness, trust, a sense of direction. And after enough strain, enough disappointment, enough delay, enough private battles, you began to feel as though those things had slipped too far away to ever truly return. You may still function. You may still smile. You may still keep moving. But inside, there have been moments when you looked at yourself honestly and thought, something in me changed, and I do not know if I will ever fully get it back. I know that grief. I know the pain of sensing that you have become more guarded than you used to be, more hesitant than you once were, more easily drained, more careful with your hope, more reluctant to trust what once felt simple. I know the sorrow of feeling like life took pieces from you in ways no one else fully understands. Some losses were obvious. Some were invisible. Some were tied to people. Some were tied to timing. Some were tied to disappointments that left no visible scar but changed your internal world. And because those losses were subtle, sacred, and personal, you have sometimes treated them as if they were permanent. You have looked at the distance between who you once were and how you feel now, and you have quietly concluded that restoration might apply to other people, but perhaps not to these specific places in you. But I want you to listen to me very carefully, because this is one of the most important truths I will speak over you in this message. What you thought was lost can still be rebuilt in my hands. Not always in the exact shape you expected. Not always by reversing the past as if it never happened. Not always by recreating a former version of you unchanged. But rebuilt, truly, deeply, wisely, and in many cases more beautifully than before, because what I restore is not shallow replacement. What I restore is refined, strengthened, and rooted in truth. I can restore peace that is no longer fragile. I can restore confidence that is no longer dependent on outcomes. I can restore direction that is no longer driven by panic. I can restore softness that is no longer naive. I can restore trust that is no longer built on illusion. I can restore hope that is no longer easily manipulated by appearances. I can rebuild what pain dismantled, but I do not merely rebuild it the old way. I rebuild it with greater depth. That is why I need you to stop speaking of your losses as if they are final. Stop treating what feels absent as if it is buried beyond my reach. Stop saying that part of me is gone, when I am standing here ready to breathe life into places you thought had gone quiet forever. You are not beyond restoration. Your inner world is not beyond restoration. Your sense of self is not beyond restoration. Your capacity for joy is not beyond restoration. Your ability to trust wisely is not beyond restoration. Even the dreams you stopped touching because they felt too painful to revisit are not beyond restoration in the form I choose to give them. I am not asking you to deny the losses. They matter too. Some of them changed you. Some of them hurt in ways you are still learning to name. But loss is not lord over your future. Pain is not the final architect of your identity. Disappointment does not have permanent ownership of the parts of you it touch. I do. And if you will let me, I will restore in ways that feel both tender and surprising. I will go into the rooms inside you that have remained dim, and I will not simply decorate them with temporary encouragement. I will renovate them. I will rebuild the structure. I will strengthen what was weak, heal what was cracked, and breathe into what felt empty. But I need your agreement. I need you to stop treating hopelessness like wisdom. I need you to stop bowing to the idea that because something feels gone, it must be unreachable. Bring me the places you think are too far gone. Bring me the parts of you you no longer expect to recover. Bring me the internal losses you rarely describe to anyone. Let me look at them with you. Let me touch them. Let me remind you who I am in the places where your imagination has become too small. Because I am not limited by what wore you down. I am not intimidated by what feels irretrievable. I am not standing outside your broken places wondering whether anything can be done. I am already inside them, preparing restoration. I want you to begin imagining restoration differently, because some of your pain has made you think restoration must mean getting everything back exactly as it was, and when that feels impossible, you stop expecting anything at all. But hear me with care. I am not always restoring by returning you to a previous version of yourself. Sometimes I am restoring by creating something wiser, steadier, deeper, and more resilient than what existed before the loss. The peace you once had may have been sincere, but it may also have been less tested. The confidence you once carried may have been real, but it may have been tied more closely to outcomes than you realized. The direction you once felt may have been genuine, but perhaps it was still mixed with urgency, pressure, or the need to prove something. The softness you once had may have been beautiful, but perhaps it had not yet learned discernment. What I restore now can carry the tenderness of your past and the wisdom of what you survive. That is why I need you to stop longing only for the old you. I understand why you miss certain parts of yourself. I understand the grief of feeling unlike who you used to be. But do not idolize the past version of you as if that was the best I could ever do. I am not merely trying to recover a former self. I am bringing forth a truer self, a steadier self, a more anchored self, a more discerning self, a more deeply peaceful self, a more honest self, a more spiritually integrated self. That is restoration too, and it may be even more beautiful than what you have been mourning. So open your imagination to my way of rebuilding. Stop insisting that healing must look familiar before you trust it. Let me restore in my wisdom, not only according to your nostalgia. And because you asked for more commands and invitations, hear me clearly now. Stop saying, "It is too late for that part of me." Stop making permanent statements over temporary pain. Stop assuming that because you cannot picture the path back, there is no path at all. Bring me your lost peace. Bring me your weakened confidence. Bring me your blurred direction. Bring me the numbness, the hesitation, the closed-off places, the dreams you put on the shelf, the part of you that stopped expecting to feel fully alive again. Lay them before me deliberately. Say, "This is what I thought was gone." Then stay long enough to hear me say, "Watch what I can do with what you thought was beyond repair." Do not rush this. Restoration is not a spectacle. It is often slow, holy rebuilding. It happens when you keep coming back to me instead of retreating into resignation. It happens when you keep choosing truth over the exhausted stories your pain tells you. It happens when you allow yourself to receive small signs of life instead of dismissing them because they are not yet dramatic. Notice those signs. Notice when a moment feels lighter than it used to. Notice when you recover faster than before. Notice when a familiar trigger no longer owns you in the same way. Notice when you feel a flicker of desire, clarity, softness, or courage where there once was only numbness. Do not overlook those moments. Honor them. Thank me for them. They are not small. They are the beginnings of restoration. They are evidence that the rebuilding is already underway. And understand this deeply, my child. I do not restore only to make you feel better. I restore so that your life can carry more of me. I restore so that your future is not dictated by what once wounded you. I restore so that the parts of you that went quiet can become places of testimony, wisdom, and compassionate strength. I restore so that what once looked like permanent loss becomes undeniable evidence of my patient, personal work in your life. So come closer. Do not stand at the edge of hope and analyze it from a distance. Step in. Trust me with the places you stopped touching. Trust me with the grief you buried under functionality. Trust me with the losses that changed your inner landscape. Because what you thought was lost can still be rebuilt in my hands, and I am not speaking in vague comfort. I am speaking with intention. I am already restoring you, and if you will stay close, you will soon begin to see that what you mourned as final was never beyond the reach of my love. My precious child, now that I have shown you that restoration is possible, I need to speak to the way you have been carrying yourself through all of this. You have been fighting harder than most people realize. Not always outwardly, not always in visible struggle, but inwardly, deeply, constantly. You have been fighting to stay composed, fighting to keep going, fighting to understand what you cannot control, fighting to hold your emotions together, fighting to maintain responsibilities while parts of you quietly ache, fighting to appear steady while your inner world feels more fragile than you want anyone to know, fighting to make sense of silence, delayed change, and uncertainty, fighting to keep hope alive while also trying not to be hurt again, fighting to be strong enough, wise enough, patient enough, careful enough, resilient enough. I know this fight intimately because I have been right beside you in it. I have watched the way you carry pressure inside your own chest. I have watched the way your mind keeps working even when your body is tired. I have watched the way you try to solve emotional pain by tightening your grip. I have watched the way you reach for control not because you are proud, but because you are scared of what might happen if you loosen your hold. I understand that. I do not mock that. I do not call you faithless because you struggle to release what feels important. But I am speaking to you now with a father's gentleness and a father's authority. Stop fighting alone. Stop carrying what was never meant to remain in your hands. Stop trying to outthink, outhold, and outendure everything that is pressing on your soul. Surrender is not losing control in the way your fear imagines. It is not collapse into chaos. It is not passivity. It is not irresponsibility. It is not you giving up on life. It is you finally letting yourself be held by me. It is you admitting that your grip is not what keeps your world together. It is you discovering that what you thought was strength was often just exhaustion and a brave posture. It is you allowing my strength to meet the exact place where yours has been wearing thin. I know surrender can sound threatening to the part of you that has survived by staying alert. I know it can feel risky because letting go has sometimes been associated in your memory with being hurt, disappointed, or left exposed. But that is why I am asking for surrender in my presence, not surrender into emptiness. I am not asking you to release your burdens into a void. I am asking you to place them into my hands. There's a difference, and your heart needs to feel that difference. I am not asking you to become careless. I am asking you to become carried. I am not asking you to stop caring. I am asking you to stop caring alone. I am not asking you to deny your responsibility. I am asking you to stop confusing responsibility with total ownership over outcomes. Some of what you are gripping is not yours to manage. Some of what you are replaying is not yours to solve. Some of what you are anticipating is not yours to preempt. Some of what you are carrying in your body and thoughts is not wisdom, it is weight. And it is crushing your peace. That is why I need you to stop romanticizing your strain as if it proves your love, your maturity, or your faithfulness. It does not. Love does not require self-destruction. Maturity does not require constant internal pressure. Faithfulness does not mean living as if everything depends on your nervous system staying activated. Come here and let me say it plainly. You are allowed to be held. You are allowed to exhale. You are allowed to stop gripping every outcome as if your clenched hands are what keeps disaster away. You are allowed to bring me the parts of your life that feel unfinished, uncertain, unresolved, and deeply personal. You are allowed to say, I cannot carry this well anymore. That is not weakness. That is wisdom. That is the doorway. That is where surrender begins, not in a dramatic collapse, but in an honest moment where you stop pretending your own grip is enough. I want you to practice surrender in a way that is real, because many times you have used the word spiritually while your body, mind, and habits continued gripping the same burdens with the same intensity. You have said, I give it to God, but then you kept replaying it, controlling it, anticipating it, managing it, and carrying it in your chest as if nothing had changed. I say that with tenderness, not accusation. I know why you do it. I know it is difficult for you to trust what you cannot track. But if you want the peace I am offering, surrender must become more than language. It must become a movement of your inner life. It must become a repeated choice. That means, when you notice yourself spiraling into control, you stop and hand it over again. When you feel your body tighten around a future you cannot secure, you pause and release it again. When you catch yourself replaying the same fear as if repetition will somehow protect you, you interrupt the cycle and place it back in my hands again. This is not failure if it has to happen often. This is training. This is how surrender becomes embodied. And because you asked for more commands and invitations, hear me clearly now. Open your hands. Do it inwardly right now. Stop pledging the relationship. Stop clutching the outcome. Stop clutching the timeline. Stop clutching the image of how you think this must go. Stop clutching the fear of what will happen if things do not unfold the way you planned. Bring me the specific thing you are most tense about. Name it. Hold it before me. Then say, I release my need to control this. Say, I trust you to hold what I cannot hold well. Say, I surrender not because I do not care, but because I know you care more deeply than I can. Then breathe. Stay in the discomfort of letting go long enough for my peace to meet you there. Do not immediately grab it back in your mind. If you do, notice it and release it again. This is how your soul learns that surrender is not danger in my presence. It is relief. It is intimacy. It is the moment when your body begins to understand what your spirit has long needed. You do not have to carry life alone to prove you are responsible. You do not have to stay tense to prove you are serious. You do not have to live braced to prove you are prepared. Let me hold you. Let me carry the weight that has been bending your inner posture. Let me be the one who steadies what you cannot force into place. Let me show you what happens when trust becomes more than a concept and starts becoming the way you move through ordinary moments. This will not always feel natural at first. Your old habits will argue. Your fear will tell you that loosening your grip is foolish. Your mind will try to convince you that if you stop monitoring everything, something will go wrong. But do not listen to that voice more than you listen to me. Today, keep releasing. Keep returning. Keep surrendering in real time. If you need to say, Lord, I am taking it back again, then say it and hand it over once more. I am not impatient with the process. I am teaching you. I am retraining the part of you that has lived as if your safety depends on your own internal tension. It does not. Your safety is in me. Your future is in me. Your healing is in me. Your provision is in me. Your peace is in me. So stop fighting alone, my child. Stop making a private war out of what was meant to become a shared surrender. Come into my arms with what is still unresolved. Come into my presence with what still scares you. Come with the part of you that still wants to control, and let that part be held too. I am not asking you to lose yourself. I am asking you to lose the illusion that your clenched hands are the only thing standing between you and collapse. They are not. I am here. I have been here. And if you let me, surrender will stop feeling like defeat and start feeling like the first deep breath you have taken in a very long time. My beloved child, after everything I have said to you, I need to bring you into something even more immediate, because I do not want this message to remain only as words in your mind. I want it to become an experience in your spirit. I want you to know, not just intellectually, but personally, that I am closer than you think. My presence is not far away. It is not reserved for special moments only. It is not hidden behind perfect conditions. It is not waiting on the other side of your emotional improvement. It is here with you right now, warm, personal, attentive, and nearer than your fear has allowed you to believe. I know that part of you has often imagined me as slightly farther than I really am. Not because you wanted distance, but because life trained you to expect it. Pain can make you feel isolated even when you are deeply loved. Anxiety can make you feel spiritually alone even when I am sitting closer than your next breath. Exhaustion can make my nearness seem harder to sense because your mind is noisy and your body is tense and your heart is trying to protect itself from one more thing it cannot control. I know all of that. I know how the inner weather of your soul can make closeness difficult to recognize. But listen carefully now. My presence does not depend on your ability to feel it perfectly in every moment. My nearness is not fragile. It is not diminished because your emotions are complicated. It is not reduced because your thoughts are racing. It is not postponed because your faith feels tired. I am here. I am with you in the room you are sitting in. I am with you in the silence after this message. I am with you in the breath you just took. I am with you in the ache that still has not fully resolved. I am with you in the uncertainty you have been carrying. I am with you in the place where your mind wants to drift into fear. I am with you in the private spaces you thought no one understood. And I need you to stop treating my presence like a distant theory you occasionally revisit. I want you to receive it as a present reality. That means you may need to slow down enough to notice what you have been moving past. You may need to stop chasing the next thought, the next task, the next explanation, the next distraction, the next emotional escape route. You may need to become still enough for your spirit to recognize what had been true all along. So do that now. Pause. Breathe slowly. Put your hand over your heart if it helps. Do not rush. Do not try to manufacture a feeling. Simply become available. Tell yourself he is here. Tell yourself I am not alone in this moment. Tell yourself his presence is not far from me. Then stay there. Stay long enough for your body to begin hearing what your spirit already needs. I am not asking you to perform spirituality. I am asking you to receive proximity. I am asking you to let my nearness become more real than the fear that keeps trying to narrate your inner world. Fear has had too much authority in your attention. Fear has been loud, persuasive, repetitive, and exhausting. But fear is not more present than I am. It is simply more rehearsed. It has had your focus because you learned to monitor danger. Yet I am closer than danger. I am closer than the future you are trying to predict. I am closer than the memory that still stings. I am closer than the tension in your chest. I am closer than the thoughts that tell you something is about to go wrong. I am here. Let that become your new starting place. Let it interrupt the old reflex. Let it shift the atmosphere inside you. I am not speaking to you from far away. my child. I am near. I have always been near. And if you will stop arguing with my closeness for just a little while, you may begin to realize that what you have been longing for is not somewhere else. It is already here, waiting to be noticed, received, and trusted. I want you to practice my nearness in a way that is personal and real, because too often you have waited for some extraordinary sign before allowing yourself to rest in my presence. You have thought, perhaps without realizing it, that if I were truly close, something dramatic would happen immediately. You expected intensity, overwhelming emotion, or some unmistakable spiritual sensation. And while I can meet you in powerful ways, I do not want you to become dependent on dramatic moments to know I am with you. I want you to learn the holy intimacy of ordinary nearness. I want you to know what it means to feel me in the quiet, to sense me in the pause, to trust me in the simple breath, to recognize me in the stillness that comes when you stop striving. That kind of nearness will sustain you far longer than emotional peaks. That kind of closeness becomes a daily home. And because you asked for more commands and invitations, hear me clearly now. Stop waiting for a dramatic sign before you let yourself rest. Stop telling yourself that if you do not feel something intense, nothing is happening. Stop measuring my presence by your emotional volume. Sit down with me in the ordinary. Invite me into the exact room you are in. Whisper, stay close to me. Then notice that I already am. When your thoughts begin racing, do not chase them immediately. Turn toward me. When fear starts speaking, do not automatically argue with it alone. Bring it into my presence. Say, Lord, you are here. When loneliness rises, do not just endure it. Counter it with truth. Say, I am not abandoned. He is with me. When your body tenses, do not merely tolerate it. Pause and breathe until your nervous system begins to learn what your spirit is hearing. This is how my nearness becomes embodied in your life. This is how you stop living as if you are spiritually alone until proven otherwise. I want you to build a new reflex. Instead of immediately spiraling inward when something feels uncertain, immediately turn toward me. Instead of assuming distance when life gets heavy, assume my presence and then settle into it. Instead of asking, where are you? And if I vanished, ask, how are you meeting me here? That question opens your eyes differently. It trains your heart differently. It keeps you from drifting into old patterns where silence automatically means absence. Let me say this with deep love. I am not asking you to become someone who never feels afraid. I am asking you to become someone who remembers I am nearer than fear. I am not asking you to never feel lonely. I am asking you to stop interpreting loneliness as evidence that you are alone. I am not asking you to force yourself into perfect spiritual awareness every minute. I am asking you to keep returning to the truth that I am already here. So practice it. Practice it in the morning before your thoughts start running. Practice it in the middle of the day when pressure rises. Practice it at night when your mind tries to carry you into dread. Practice it when nothing dramatic is happening. Practice it when everything feels loud. Let my presence become the room you live from, not the place you occasionally visit in crisis. Because this is where real transformation deepens. Not only in the big moments, but in the ordinary recognition that you are deeply accompanied. And I want you to hear one more thing before we move on. My nearness is not passive. I am not merely beside you as a silent observer. I am near as comfort, near as wisdom, near as protection, near as correction, near as peace, near as a father whose attention is fixed on you with tenderness. So come closer, my child. Stop standing at a distance in your own imagination. Stop speaking to me like I am across the universe when I am already holding the room around you. Receive my nearness. Rest in it. Let it calm the places that still feel unsteady. Let it become more familiar than fear. Because I am closer than you think, and I am not going anywhere. My beloved, as you begin to recognize that I am closer than you think, let that nearness move you into action that carries my presence further. What you feel right now is not only comfort. It is a call to partner with me in reaching others who are still searching for this same nearness. Freely you have received, freely give, and I am speaking that as a living invitation over you. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you become a channel through which my presence travels into hearts that are weary and waiting. I will cover your life with peace and provision as you step into this act of trust. Do not separate what you feel from what you do. Let your response match the closeness you are experiencing. Act now and give as one who knows I am already with you. My precious child, I want to end this part of our conversation with something deeply honest, because I love you too much to comfort you with half-truths. I am not telling you that every struggle will disappear in one instant because you heard this message. I am not promising that every emotion will suddenly settle, every unanswered question will immediately resolve, or every hard thing will vanish by the time this moment ends. I know your life is more complex than that. I know healing is often layered. I know restoration can be gradual. I know some things take time, and I know you have already lived through enough disappointment that I will not speak to you in ways that flatter your pain but fail your trust. So hear me with tenderness and clarity. This is not the end of your struggle in one instant, but it is the beginning of a real turning point. Something has shifted here. Something has opened. Something has begun. And while the outer circumstances may not all transform at once, you will not walk through what comes next the same way you walked through what came before. That is what matters. You will not walk through it abandoned. You will not walk through it without my voice. You will not walk through it without a deeper awareness of my hand. You will not walk through it with the same old agreements if you keep staying close to me. You will not walk through it with the same unconscious surrender to fear if you continue letting me retrain your heart. The struggle may not vanish overnight, but your relationship to the struggle can change profoundly. That is where turning points often begin. Not when the whole landscape changes in a day, but when the soul begins moving differently through the same terrain. A turning point is when you stop calling yourself alone. A turning point is when you stop normalizing the old drain. A turning point is when you stop interpreting every delay as rejection. A turning point is when you stop rehearsing hopelessness and start recognizing my presence. A turning point is when you stop fighting with clenched fists and begin surrendering with open hands. A turning point is when your inner world begins aligning with truth, even while the outer world is still catching up. That is what is happening now. Do not underestimate it just because it is not flashy. Do not despise it because it is tender rather than dramatic. Some of the most powerful beginnings in your life will not look loud at first. They will look like a quieter mind, a softer breath, a more honest prayer, a different choice in the middle of an old pattern, a moment of peace where there used to be panic, a pause before the spiral, a refusal to agree with an old lie, a willingness to stay in my presence instead of running. Those things are not small. They are signs of turning. They are evidence that the axis of your inner life is beginning to move. They are the early movements of a soul that is no longer fully surrendered to the patterns that once owned it. So do not leave this moment asking only, did everything change? Ask instead what has begun. Ask, what did the Lord interrupt in me? Ask, what old agreement lost strength today? Ask, what new truth am I being invited to walk in now? Those are the right questions. Those are the questions that help you honor a real turning point instead of missing it because it arrived with gentleness. And I need you to hear this deeply. I am not offering you temporary emotional relief so you can go back to the same exact way of living. I am inviting you into a new way of walking with me through whatever comes next. That is why this matters. That is why this is not just another moment of encouragement. This is a beginning. This is a pivot. This is a holy interruption in the old story. I want you to respond to this turning point with intention, because beginnings can be missed when they are not honored. If you treat this like just another passing emotional moment, you may drift back into the same habits before the deeper work has a chance to take root. But if you receive this as a real threshold, something powerful will happen. You will begin protecting what I have started. You will begin walking differently on purpose. You will begin noticing the old patterns sooner and choosing new responses with me. That is how transformation deepens. And because you asked for more commands and invitations, hear me clearly now. Do not walk away from this casually. Do not let the old noise swallow what I have planted here. Guard this moment. Return to it. Revisit what I have said. Sit with me again after this. If you need to step away from distractions for a while, do it. If you need to write down what I highlighted, do it. If you need to pray honestly instead of moving on quickly, do it. Make room for what has begun. Protect the seed. When the old heaviness tries to return as if nothing happened, do not panic. Recognize it. Say, a turning point has already begun. When the old fear starts speaking in familiar tones, do not surrender immediately. Answer it with truth. Say, I am not walking alone now. When the old urge to brace comes back, pause and remember, you do not have to live there anymore. When the old lies about being forgotten, disqualified, or too late begin whispering again, refuse them. Refuse them actively. Say, the Lord has already met me. Something has already shifted. I will not return to that old agreement. This is how you honor the turning point. Not by demanding instant perfection from yourself, but by choosing not to casually return to what I have begun breaking off of you. Let me be very clear, my child. You may still have hard days. You may still feel moments of fatigue, uncertainty, grief, or hesitation. I am not hiding that from you. But those moments do not get to define the whole chapter anymore if you keep bringing them to me. The old patterns may still knock, but they do not get to own the house if you stop letting them in as permanent residents. That is the difference. That is the shift. That is why this matters so much. I am not promising a struggle-free life. I am promising a deeply accompanied life. I am promising a new level of awareness. I am promising that the same darkness that once felt like proof of abandonment will now become a place where you learn to recognize my presence more quickly. I am promising that what used to swallow you can become the place where you stop, breathe, remember, and return. So take this seriously. Step into it. Say, I receive this turning point. Say, I will not abandon what God has begun in me. Say, I choose to walk differently from here. Then act on it. Stay close tomorrow, not just tonight. Return to me in the morning, not only in the emotional aftermath of this moment. Build small, faithful rhythms that keep your heart aligned. Let this become a beginning, not a memory. Because that is what it is. This is not the end of every struggle in one instant, but it is the beginning of a real turning point. And if you will keep walking with me, you will discover something beautiful. What once felt like endless survival will slowly become a story of steady transformation, not because life became instantly easy, but because you stopped walking through it as if you were abandoned. You are not abandoned. You never were. And from this point forward, if you stay close, you will know it more deeply than ever before. My beloved child, now that you have come this far with me, I want you to hear my heart with unusual clarity, because this final part matters more than you realize. This private message was never meant to be a passing emotional moment that warms you for an hour and then fades into the noise of your day. It was never meant to be another beautiful set of words that touches you briefly while the old patterns quietly reclaim their place. I did not bring you here simply to comfort you and then watch you return unchanged to the same inner agreements that have been draining you, diminishing you, and teaching you to expect less than what I have been trying to awaken in you. No, my child, this message was a meeting. This message was an interruption. This message was a holy turning in a road. This message was me leaning close enough for you to hear what your heart has been aching for and what your spirit has been ready for, even if your mind did not know how to name it. I have not spoken all of this to you so you can admire it. I have spoken it so you can carry it. I have not drawn this close so you can remember a feeling. I have drawn this close so you can walk differently. I have not revealed these private places in you so you can simply feel seen and then move on. I have revealed them so they can become surrendered, healed, retrained, and transformed under my hand. That is why I need you to do something now that is simple, but sacred. Carry this with you. Guard what I have spoken. Do not let the world steal the tenderness of this moment by pulling you too quickly back into old urgency, old distractions, old mental noise, old fear, old self-protection, or old habits of spiritual distance. Protect the atmosphere of what has happened here. If you must step away from the noise after this, do it. If you need to sit in silence with me for a little while, do it. If you need to write down what pierced you, what comforted you, what confronted you, what awakened you, do it. If you need to pray out loud in a room where no one else hears you, do it. Honor what I have done. Treasure it. Not because the words themselves are magical, but because what I have been planting in you is alive. Seeds have been placed in your spirit. Old lies have been challenged. Hidden wounds have been touched. A new awareness has begun. Your inner posture has started shifting. The old story has been interrupted. Do not treat that casually. Do not move away from it carelessly. And hear me with deep love. What I have spoken over you aligns with the kind of high-impact truth that changes memory through personalization, vivid inner imagery, contrast, and story-like progression, because I have addressed you personally, invited you to imagine, contrasted fear with my nearness, and walked you through your own story so the message would stay with you, not merely pass by you. I have spoken this way because I wanted your heart to remember, not just your ears. I wanted you to feel the picture of my hand on your shoulder, the room quieting around you, the breath returning to your chest, the old heaviness losing authority. I wanted the truth to become vivid enough that when tomorrow comes and life starts speaking loudly again, you can return to what I said and feel it as something living, not distant. That is why I tell you now, do not put this down as if it is over. Carry it into your morning. Carry it into your choices. Carry it into your prayers. Carry it into the next time fear rises. Carry it into the next time the old lies try to return. Carry it into the next moment when you are tempted to believe nothing really changed. Something did change. You heard me. You let me speak. You stayed. That matters. That is not small. That is not imaginary. Heaven takes that seriously. And I want you to take it seriously too. Do not wait for another message to do what I am already asking you to do now. This is your message. This is your moment. This is your invitation. And now I am asking you, with tenderness and authority, to walk forward with me as if you believe I truly meant every word. I want to leave you with a way to move from this moment into the life ahead, because I do not want you standing at the edge of transformation, inspired but uncommitted, moved but unchanged, comforted but still drifting. So listen carefully and let this settle into you like a final embrace and a clear command at the same time. When you wake tomorrow, do not wake as if nothing happened. Wake remembering that I am near. Before the world gets your attention, give me your first awareness. Even if it is only a few honest seconds, turn toward me. Say you are here. Say, I remember what you spoke. Say, I will walk with you today. Then continue. When fear rises later, do not negotiate with it for long. Interrupt it. Stop. Breathe. Return to me. When old heaviness presses on your chest, do not automatically surrender to it. Notice it. Bring it to me. When old patterns invite you back into survival mode, do not accept the invitation just because it is familiar. Refuse it. When the urge comes to protect yourself through distance, performance, numbness, overthinking, or control, slow down and ask, what did he already show me about this? Then choose differently, even if only in one small way. This is how the new life begins, not in one dramatic leap, but in repeated holy agreement. That is how real transformation happens, just as the knowledge-based scripts emphasize, not merely through effort, but by allowing my presence to reshape you from the inside out. In every moment you let me stay near. So do not make the mistake of waiting for the perfect feeling before you obey. Obey in the ordinary. Obey in the small. Obey in the hidden. Obey when your emotions are still catching up. And because you ask for more commands and invitation statements, hear me clearly now. Stay close. Guard your heart. Guard your peace. Guard your thoughts. Guard the tenderness I have restored. Do not tell every person everything I am doing in you too quickly. Some things need quiet while they grow. Some beginnings are sacred and should be protected until I tell you it is time to reveal them. Silence can be a shield, and gratitude can be a gate that keeps your heart aligned with me as the next chapter opens. So remain grateful. Remain humble. Remain prayerful. Remain awake. And when you stumble, and there may still be moments when you do not turn one hard day into an old identity. Do not tell yourself you have lost everything because you felt the old struggle knock again. Return quickly. Come back immediately. Let the struggle become a place of reconnection, not a doorway back into shame. This is how you will know the difference between the old season and the new one. In the old season, pain pulled you away from me more easily. In the new one, even pain will become a cue to come closer. That is growth. That is maturity. That is the fruit of everything I have been saying to you. So now, my child, take this final word into your bones. I am not finished with you. I am not finished healing you. I am not finished restoring you. I am not finished preparing you. I am not finished opening what I have already begun arranging in front of you. But this private message has done what it was sent to do. It has found you. It has reached you. It has opened a door. It has placed truth in your hands. And now the next step is yours. Walk through the door. Do not hesitate at the threshold. Do not stand outside your own answered prayer because the familiar feels easier than the unknown. Come with me. Step forward. Bring your trembling if you must. Bring your unfinished places if you must. Bring your questions, your softness, your dependence, your hope, your weakness, your longing. Bring all of it. Just do not stay where you were. Move with me. Let this become the beginning of the life you have been praying for. Let this become the day you stopped calling your pain permanent, your delay final, your fear wisdom, and your exhaustion identity. Let this become the day you remembered whose you are. Let this become the day you finally believe that I was not speaking generally, but personally, that I meant you, that I chose you, that I came for you, and that I am still walking with you now. So rise, my beloved, not in panic, not in performance. Rise in peace. Rise in trust. Rise in quiet confidence. Rise knowing I am with you. Carry this message like fire hidden in your spirit. Carry it like light in a dark hallway. Carry it like a hand in yours. And do not look back as if the old life still owns you. It does not. I have spoken. You had heard me. The beginning is already here. Walk with me. My child, this is not the end. This is the beginning, and what I have started in you must now move forward through you. The fire I have placed within your spirit is not meant to remain contained. It is meant to become light for many who are still walking in darkness. Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days, and I am declaring that over every seed you release in this moment. When you support this mission through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are stepping into a divine partnership that carries my word across hearts, homes, and nations. I will multiply your obedience, protect what concerns you, and open doors that no man can shut. This is your moment to respond, not later, not when it feels easier, but now. Do not stand at the threshold of what I have begun. Step forward and give, and walk with me into the life you have been praying for. Amen.